Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel that I've been gone from so long ago. This is a paranormal podcast for those of you that are brave enough to join the circle today with Kat and I. I just want to confirm with my team that all the channels are up and running before we get too far into this podcast. I'm just sending a quick text message out because I feel, a little out of it. It's been a minute. It's been quite a while. And it's probably been about 6 months since we've had a podcast up and running, which is crazy because I get updates from all of our podcast outlets, which is, oh my God, guys, if you don't know where our podcast is, I know that like our main hubs are like YouTube and Twitch and all these other ones that we've added. But in case you didn't know, I would like to read you the list of where we're at. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Twitch, Deezer, Amazon Kindle, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, TuneIn with Amazon, Podcast Addict, Pocket Cast, Listen Notes, Player FM, Podcast Index, and then the apps that the podcast is on is Podcast Player, the Podcast app, and Overcast. So you can literally find us on any of those apps. And, and we've just added a new one. It's called Trovo. That is a new competitor that is competing against Twitch right now. So Trovo, Trovo. And yeah, you can find it all on ghostgirldiaries.com, and we're literally everywhere. But anyway, even the 6 months that we took off, have been getting updates this whole time that like people are still downloading our podcast, and we've surpassed, like we get these congratulations. I think that we're one of the top rated podcasts on Apple iTunes and on Amazon, which is crazy. It's really crazy. Really cool, but crazy. And that's another note that I need to write down. I want to talk about one more thing right here before I forget. Let me write this down. There, I don't want to, I'm trying to cover questions because, you guys have been sending us questions for months. I know that some of you are following me on Instagram, which is the perfect place where I update everything on my stories, and I know some of you haven't been. So I know a lot of people are like, which is it? Like, where are you? What's going on? So we're going to kind of cover everything. So some of you may know what happened. Some of you may not know what happened. But I'm going to bring in Kat right now. This is my sidekick co-host, Kat Cormier.
Oh my gosh, we're here.
I know.
It's weird.
I did a test run earlier and I was like, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
How do we do this?
I don't know where anything is. I don't know what's going on. So it's been a long, 6 months, right?
Yeah, it's felt like a year.
Actually, it's felt like it's 4.5 years. You know what I mean?
4.5, yeah. Exactly.
My camera's going blurry.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it must be my mom. Mm-hmm. Webcam.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my webcam never goes blurry ever. It's a brand. It's an expensive webcam, and it sits way above everything. So that's interesting. So hi, Mom. I'm glad that you're here. She's letting me know she's here. So we have a lot to freaking cover here. Also, next week we should be able to stream live on TikTok Live. What? That I'm just yeah. So you have to have at least 1,000 followers to have this feature. We do. We're almost at 10,000 followers. Thank God. We got up to 10,000 in a week. It was crazy. But yeah. We for some reason don't have the link to be able to put our live feed in it. So I had to send a ticket in to TikTok. But anyway, it should be fixed next week. It's too bad it couldn't be this week, but that's okay. Elfie gets to step in next week. She'll be on TikTok with me. So that's kind of cool. And it's your birthday next week, you know what I'm saying?
It is next Friday. It'll be the big 30.
How do you feel about the dirty 30?
I have mixed emotions. I'm clinging to the last of my 20s for dear life, but I've been hearing that 30s are really amazing.
Oh my God, Josh is here.
So-
Josh is here.
Hey! Oh my
Josh
gosh,
is
hi,
here.
Josh.
Okay, Josh is our security. He's done security. Okay, wait a second. Josh is the longest running employee I've had.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. For the evil ex-employees that say I'm the worst devil to work for, I think Josh would disagree. I just don't get along with women. You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem. It's like girls are just catty and mean. Like, but I think you, Elfie, and I are so like dudeish that we're just like, dude, I don't even want a drama. Like, I don't want to deal.
We're very go with the flow and like, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
You know?
So Josh, we love you so much. Josh is here. We're going to talk about Josh later. He went with us to film our features. We have a lot to catch up on. There's a lot going on here.
So much.
Oh my God. So yeah, like get ready because like you need drinks. Like I have a Diet Coke here, right? This was
I have some water.
I have water. I have a giant jug of water. That's a good place to start. Let's talk about you and I. No. We're gonna back it up even. Let's not start with the trauma. Let's not just jump into the
I
trauma.
love how I just jumped to the trauma.
Cat's like, get it over with. Just go.
My Aries.
And your Scorpio rising, just kill it off.
My Scorpio's like, yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
So backing up to, I would say like what? When did you get in with GGD? 2018, right?
Or it'll be 4 years ago in July.
Okay, so oh, hi Laura, thank you for the bits. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So you come in and like we just became like really good friends instantly. It was really weird. And like a year or two into it, you and I start getting into like I feel like our spirituality changed a lot from when we first met. Like it started out with like, okay, the common bond was paranormal. And you were like being hired on to do the producer side of things and help me organize, which she's amazing, by the way. She's like totally my right hand man. I would die without Kat, honest to God. But like, so then it evolved even from there to like, we started getting into like light worker stuff. I feel like there's layers. There's like, you learn you're an empath, which we already knew we were empaths. And then empaths are kind of like unhealed light workers. And then you go into the light worker aspect. And then you even go above that, which is like starseeds. We got really into starseeds together. And we bonded over that. And we started researching starseeds. And then we both kind of figured out we were Lyrans. And don't, as if you're a fan out there, research it. Don't just say, oh, I'm a Lyran like Kat and Krystal. You need to find out what you are. Like, there's different characteristics and aspects to all starseeds. So, anyway. So, we go into, like, the starseed thing and just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this, like, spiritualism. And then, all of a sudden, we learn about shadow work. And simultaneously, not even really talking about it with each other, because once again, this is like a private journey of like evolving. We both decided to do shadow work separately but together. It was very strange. And at first we didn't even know each other. Like, we had learned about shadow work, but we hadn't really talked about it. But you started shadow work, I started shadow work. And then one day we were like, oh, so we're doing shadow work. And she was like, I'm doing shadow work. And it was like, what? Like, it was, so what shadow work is essentially healing all unhealed trauma, things that you kind of scoop under the rug that you don't want to face. It can be as deep as like molestation as a child, or your father leaving you as a kid and having unhealed abandonment issues, like any kind of wounds that you have as a child that you drag into your adult life that causes blockages in relationships. You've decided that you're literally going to grab the shadows by the arm and you're going to pull every single one of them out. And you're going to heal through those shadows. And it's traumatic.
It's ongoing. Still. But it's a lot. It's very heavy. Mm-hmm. It's very, very heavy. And transparency is key. With yourself. Accountability is key when it comes to, forgiving yourself as well for past whatever. And, trust in a positive future, and you will be moving forward from all of this, even though it feels mucky. Well,
and shadow work never ends. Like, you can't just say like, oh, I've been doing it for a year and it ends. Like, we still both have things that pop up, and you can revisit things and go backwards and go forward. So a lot of people, people are not usually cut out for shadow work. I preach it because I swear by it, because I wouldn't be where I am today without shadow work. You sort of peel, it's like an onion. You peel back all the layers and all the damage that's ever been done to you, and you accept it, and you sort of learn to live within your shadow self. And then nothing can really hurt you or harm you again. So it's weird. I don't know how to explain it. I think that's a pretty good way to explain it.
It is, and therapy is huge. Absolutely huge in the process as well.
Yeah, there's times you need group therapy, there's times you need individual therapy, there's times you don't need therapy at all. There's times that you just need your friends and people supporting you there. And unfortunately, as this happens, when you start to shed these old versions of yourself, your circle of friends just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So essentially where I'm going with this is, yes, of course I'm preaching shadow work, but only do it if you've done enough research. Don't just take this little blurb that Kat and I've talked about. I do talk about it in my book, shameless plug, Ghost Girl Diaries. You can get it on Amazon.
Oh, wait.
What?
Ghost Girl Diaries.
Jesus.
On Amazon. Ding.
That was really good. That was like really good. You know what I mean?
It's right on top of my film book.
Wow.
You got me.
That was like, she was
and
ready. She was ready to go. So long story short is that you and I both also talked openly about having body dysmorphia. You and I both talked. Kat's like, oh, that's another demon. You don't talk about
every day. No, yeah.
Why am I laughing? No, but also like a body image and eating disorders. We both suffered from eating disorders, and when you go through shadow work, you sort of you're healing the inside, and then you heal the outside, because I think that you're not going to be able to heal the outside till the inside's healed. So we were both able to overcome our eating disorders, and we've both lost a freaking ton of weight.
Pretty amazing.
Because, I mean, I've talked about it on social media, but Kat hasn't talked about hers, but she's lost a ton of weight, too. She just hasn't talked about it. She's a Scorpio rising. She's very private. Sorry if I threw you under the bus.
No, that's okay.
But it's just something to be proud of.
Proud
And
of it.
so, yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting because for all the trauma and the things that we went through, because really Kat went through this with me, too. She had her own trauma, but I also had mine. We went through it together. That luckily we had done the shadow work. Once again, it's never completed, but and we were already losing weight and feeling good about ourselves, and I think that just kind of helped us be able to survive like the quote dark times, don't you think?
I agree. And you know, in prior conversations, Krystal and I have had, you know, heavy conversation about this and like weight and like weight loss and all of that. And I think it was this woman, her name is Yasmin Ibrahim. I think I told you about this more recently too, that she really changed my perspective when it came to weight and how it's carried. Because people think of it as the physical, which it is, and it absolutely is. But it is also energetic. And when you're an empath and you're a giver and you care for people, we carry other people's baggage and we carry their energy, which can transmute into weight, quite literally. So when you start to take steps back and honor yourself and honor those, you know, with you on that path, you start to see and feel dramatic differences in your physical and your spiritual self as well. And it just, I'm telling you, it just falls off. And it comes with work, obviously. But that was a huge shift in my brain hearing that, because I'd never heard something like that before. And it really just takes it out of yourself and out of like the physical into something more. And that's really what catapulted me into mine as well. And just to feel better.
The shadow work too. I heard a spiritualist talking the other day. I can't remember who this was, but I study spiritualism. I just study these people that have these things to say. And they said, whoever this was said, you know, you're born into this planet, this innocent little creature. You're just like a little egg, literally. You're a little eggy. And you were literally one of millions chosen to be born. So, like, you're rare. You're special. Every one of us is very special. Like, there's one of us, and that's it. And this little egg came in so innocent into Earth, and we have all these problems, and we have to go through shadow work and trauma, and it's because of other people's problems that were on put to us. Like, we need to strip away the layers and go back to who we were when we were born with all of that pain, or society's pain, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm just talking about this because I really think that we're so strong because we chose to walk this spiritual path and be healed. And the past versions of ourselves are dead.
They are. They are. And there will always be lessons, and there will always be triggers and situations that will kind of spark up those feelings again. But I swear it's to just make sure that you're still in alignment, and to catch yourself and allow and give yourself grace to have a moment to stumble, because it's going to be hard. But it's how quickly you pick yourself back up that really matters. You know,
That's
it's
true.
about the journey. It's about the journey, not the destination. Although we do like the destination too, but
Right.
you have to enjoy the process as well, and enjoy those little wins when you get them.
And weight loss is a big one for us. It's been we're both, and our whole daily habits have changed. We're working out every single day. You know, we have similar paths, but we're also very individualistic. She does things different than I do, so just don't copy things Kat and I say. I wanted to address this because a lot of people have asked me questions on weight loss on Instagram, and it's just, you have to find what works for you. What I do or what I did may not work for you, although I believe shadow work is the key. I don't think I'd be, I don't think I would, if I wouldn't have I really feel like if I wouldn't have healed the inside, I wouldn't have healed the outside first. So now we can jump into the trauma.
Now we can get down about the trauma. Yeah, crazy. Where do we start?
Well, we initially started kind of taking a break in September. I was in the process of sort of revamping social media. I had sat down with Elfie, and Elfie was planning on doing content ideas. I was kind of handing off podcasts to Elfie, and it was only supposed to be like a short, like 4 to 6 week break for reorganization. And then October hit, which is supposed to be our favorite month because of who we are. And something really horrible happened to one of us. And when one of us is in pain, we're all in pain. We are a family. And if there's past people from the past with Ghost Girl Diaries that fell off for whatever reason, it's because they're not family. Josh is family. He flew out when my mom got sick. Kat flew out when my mom got sick. We function as a family. Elfie's texting constantly, hey, checking in, bitch, are you alive?
FaceTime, yep.
So we are a family unit. So when one of us is in pain, we are all in pain. And that's how we interact. And when one of us is having something happen traumatically, we all rush to that person and support them however we can. So Kat sort of started the crazy train with trauma. And I'm gonna hand this mic off to you because I think this is an important conversation. Death is what we talk about anyways with paranormal, and one thing I think we don't talk about enough is how special pets are to us. And I mean, I lost Harley, my oldest dog, in 2019, and I was freaking traumatized over it. I mean, it's like when a pet dies, a piece of you is gone, literally. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I've really honestly never been the same since. But for those of you that follow me, I had a bearded dragon for 2 years. Her name was Lily. And I adopted her from a friend of mine. She had a sister as well, but they couldn't live together in the same tank because there was a male in the vicinity and the sisters were attacking each other. So, you know, animal life, it's fine. So I took her, and she was such a light in my life. She had such personality. She knew Krystal. She knew Krystal's voice. She was beyond smart. I mean, to the point where she would literally look you in the eye when you were talking to her.
I FaceTimed with Lily all the time.
I know. She would always turn her head and she'd run towards you, and you know, it was incredible. She really was just my rock, and to some that aren't necessarily close with animals or not an animal person, like, she was literally my child. She like Lily, this little bearded dragon, was my child. And things took a turn for the worse on Samhain, actually, on Halloween. It was a very normal day, and she started to show some signs of wheezing, like breathing strange. And she was doing this thing called gaping. So bearded dragons, they'll like open their mouth when they're really, really hot and their body temperature is hot. And beardies love to do that because that's just a way for them to release that extra heat, and they like to be hot because they're lizards. They're from Australia. So she was gaping a lot more frequently, and there was some weird sounds happening. And of course, I immediately started to panic. And honestly, the worst part of it, there was a few things, but one was I called a bunch of exotic pet veterinarians in the area, and no one would take her. And at that point, I'm pretty sure she had already passed on. I was holding her, and I'm pretty sure she had already crossed over. And none of these vets locally would take her, and they kept telling me to go to Boston. So I got in a car and drove almost 2 hours to a Boston vet, where I will always go again if I ever get another beauty or another pet. I will always go to Boston. I don't even care how long it is. They were incredible. They took her in. She was not responding. She was not breathing. They did 2 rounds of CPR on her. And they said that they could have gotten her heart, beating again, or her breathing, going again. But because of how long she had been gone, there would have been some major, brain issues. So, I had her put down. It was the right thing to do. And bearded dragons, I'm pretty sure it's just a reptile thing in general. When they die, a reptile's heartbeat beats for 24 hours. It's the craziest thing. So that's why we had to put her down after she wasn't breathing, was because her heartbeat was still going. So she was still in really great color, and of course that was very confusing for me, and everything was happening so fast, and there was just doctors coming in and out, and it was just really, I was a mess.
Trauma.
I was a mess. I didn't know how to function. I was distraught. I was beside myself. Thank goodness I had somebody else driving, because I would not have been able to handle that. And I called Krystal immediately after it happened, because we said our goodbyes and we were with her. When we put her down, and Krystal couldn't even believe it either.
I screamed, and I was screaming and crying, and I feel I should have been able to be there for Kat. No, I'm so sorry.
It was shocking. No, it was shocking. I mean, and on Samhain, honestly, that was really the only saving grace of all of this happening. I'll touch base on that in a second, but I did order what's called a necropsy to see what the heck happened, because she was fine. She was going to the bathroom fine. She was eating fine. Her color was great.
So now, what is a necropsy, just in case?
She went down. A necropsy is like an autopsy. So they did an autopsy on her for, I don't know if it's for animals or reptiles specifically, but I ordered one to see what happened, because she was in perfect health. I of course, as a pet parent, I blamed myself. What did I do? Did I feed her something wrong? She's so small. Did she break something? Like, what happened? They took almost 2 weeks to get back to me, which I was a little concerned about, just because it was really stressful waiting to hear what happened and what's going on. The vet called me, and she was also the one that was doing the CPR with Lily, or for Lily, and also put her down as well. And she called me and was like, "I'm really sorry I did not get back to you sooner." She goes, "I was kind of in shock with Lily's results from the necropsy, so I actually sent it off to 2 other vets in the Boston area to make sure that my results were correct." And she said that she had nothing to come back to me with. She was in perfect health. She had no issues. There was no breathing issues, nothing wrong with the lungs. Her blood was great. Her weight was fine. She had no signs of any type of diabetes or, fatty liver or anything like that. She said it was her time. It was her time to go. And she chose to go, is more specifically what she said. And of course that really got me, because she was 2.5? It was her birthday month. It was literally her birthday month, and she passed away on Samhain. And I just had a lot of questions. I was like, why would you go this soon? Why would you go this quickly? And it was shortly after she passed in that manner that a lot of other things started to catalyst and change in my life, one by one, which we'll touch on that later. But it was definitely the beginning of some really dark times for me. I posted about it on social media. I actually posted a video of her just yesterday, because I do have her ashes, and I have a little 3D photo of her in this glass cube, and her little paw print, her little footprint and stuff in front of her ashes. And it's just so crazy. And what's even crazier is how strong energy how strong of energy she had. She's very commanding for an animal so small. And 3 days before she passed, I smelled my hamster. So I had a dwarf hamster a year prior to getting Lily. His name was Gus Gus.
Gus Gus.
He's like...
He knew me too. I love
He knew Krystal too. He loved his treats. He was a little chubbalub and like just the cutest little thing ever. We can't... I'm allergic to cats, and you can only have cats in this apartment complex, so I had to get creative with my animals, and you're not allowed to have dogs either, so it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So little Gus Gus lived for about 2.5 years, and then a year after he passed, Lily came across my path. And 3 days before she passed, I strongly smelled Gus Gus, my hamster, in the dining room. And I didn't understand why. I was like, this is so bizarre. Like, why am I getting this pungent smell of, like, Gus Gus? You know, like, of just the hamster smells. Like, if you have had a hamster, you understand what that is. And then Lily passed, and I put the puzzle pieces together after getting the necropsy results, and I lost it again. Because it was Gus Gus coming forward to tell me that Lily was getting ready to go, and you know, he was going to be with her. He was going to be with her. It was the craziest thing. It was the craziest thing.
So for people that say animals don't feel, and you have these two itty-bitty creatures, a bearded dragon and a hamster, they feel. They are part of us. They are a part of us. They
are, and oof.
They're an extension of us. They're literally your children. They are your children. And it's...
She was my baby girl. She was my baby girl.
She was so smart. She'd walk on her hind feet. She was weird. She was so
weird. She would even, like, I mean, TMI, but, like, she would follow me in the bathroom. She would literally follow me. Like, I'd be in the kitchen, and then I'd walk to the bathroom, and you'd just hear her claws, like, on the carpet, just, like, following me around. I swear she thought she was a dog.
Yeah, she did.
Because she was just, like, she had free reign of the apartment. She lived the life of Riley, and... I think hearing those results back was a sigh of relief for me that I didn't do anything wrong, but it's just you wish they could live forever. You wish they could live forever, and it was just horrible.
Traumatizing.
It was absolutely horrible. Yeah, I was out of... I mean, I'm still out of it, thinking about her sometimes, but I was pretty much out of commission for a solid month.
So now when a pet dies, and we can touch on this later, but after a pet dies, what kind of catalyst does it do to change your life?
It detaches. I feel like grief just in general can, for me specifically, it detached me from a lot. Personal connection, myself, my spirituality. I was just in total mourning mode. I was just in a hole.
So it's a death and rebirth.
Literally. Oh, 100%. And it opened, when I came out of that, it opened my eyes to some things that needed to change. Mm-hmm. You know? Which is just as hard, But it shows you that there's as horrible as things are sometimes, especially when it comes to losing an animal, or anything for that matter, anybody. It's sometimes can play a role in your life without realizing it, but you won't figure that out until later. Mm-hmm. You won't figure it out till later, and that's okay. You're not meant to have all the answers right now. That's not the point.
Well, Kat and I have always, another thing. We've had people try to tear us apart. And
oh my God.
I don't think people realize how close we are in a really kind of disgusting way.
It's true.
Our mothers... Oh, my mom must be here because the light just flashed in the room behind me. Right when I said mothers, she's like, yeah.
Annette.
Our mothers were born on the same day.
Literally the same day.
Mm-hmm. Kat and I were both born premature with something called meconium aspiration. That's a whole nother stream.
That's fun, yeah. That's literally a stream in itself.
That's a whole other traumatic stream. We both have asthma. Everything we go through since we've met. Music. Yeah, we've both been singers. I mean, Kat takes hers to another extent of opera, but I was in a band, so that's singing. And I've been classically trained by an opera singer, so I guess there's a cross way, you know. But every time since we have met, I go something, she goes through something. She goes through something, I go through something. And since we've met for years, our paths have done this like intertwining zigzag where we literally go through the same thing one after the other. Like my mom gets sick, her mom gets sick. Her lizard dies, my dog dies. Like it's like that's how our life has been. And that's probably why when people have tried to tear us apart from the past, we're both like, y'all don't even know who you're trying to tear apart. We have lived so many lifetimes together. You can't tear these bitches apart, okay, when you've lived this many lives together. Okay?
Glued. Okay. Stuck with each other. It's gonna be great.
It is. It's a trauma bond. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, no. But it's a healthy one? Is that possible? I don't know if that's
Well, it
possible.
is true
We're very
because
aware.
when
We're
either
very
of us
aware.
goes through something and then the other one goes through it, we're both like, oh, I got you, girl. I am right there. I hear you. I'm right next to you. Like, literally, I've been there for Kat and she's been there for me. And, like, we're not even friends at this point. We're sisters. Like, literally. And sisters fight. We have tips. We fight. You know what I mean? And it's who cares? Like, you're gonna get over it.
Yeah. Well, and we also know each other so well. We know each other. I mean, it sounds really messed up. I don't know why I'm laughing. We know each other's mourning styles.
Yeah.
So, like, we know that when something happens, we need to take a step back for a few days, and we just know, like, we don't have to say anything. Like, we just know why.
Well, or also be
it's
like,
fine.
text, bitch, are you okay? Like,
Yeah, of course. Like, we'll always just be like, are you just making sure?
are you alive?
Yeah.
You're breathing? Just
Yeah, on
checking.
both ends. Yeah, okay, great. Just I'll FaceTime you next
Yeah,
week.
literally.
Good time.
So Lily dies, and I'm also beside myself with it because I know the pain of losing a pet. And I mean, Harley. I mean, I've now lost a couple of pets, but Harley. Oh my God, I probably overdid it with Harley in 2019. But I paid about $14,000 in vet bills to try to save his life. I was willing to do anything I could to save him. And you're right. You're just. They don't live forever. You can't. I probably overkilled it, but he and I were like you and Lily. It's just there's something special about that particular bond.
Past life bond.
Oh God. Oh, Harley's a lion on the other side. He's showed me himself. You know what I mean?
He's so loud. I love him.
So
love him.
then, November hits, and my uncle gets sick with COVID. Or am I allowed to say that word, or will I get shadow banned? I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
it's fine now.
it's too late now.
Well.
I'm not re-saying it, but the Rona.
The Covey.
The Rona.
The panini.
Yeah, we called it the panini before. Don't get the panini.
Panini.
He got it. He was older, in his 70s. And he invited over a family member who had it, and he got it, and within a week he was dead. And that uncle was an uncle that raised me, essentially. He's the only man that raised me other than my godfather. And that was my aunt's husband, so he's not by blood, but he's by marriage. And no one saw that one coming.
Great man.
Yeah, I mean, military, he's a Navy veteran, and yeah, that was weird. Didn't see that one happening. So now we're just going to start processing trauma here. So I just needed, like, each of these things happened. I mean, I know I'm not directly with Lily, but I needed time to heal from that too. That once again, we're a family unit. So when one of us is processing, we're all processing. So then at the end of November, my oldest dog now at the time is Diva, who's 17. She was like, bitch, you can't get rid of me. I'm going to live forever.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Yeah, she was a Chiweenie, which is Wiener Dachshund mix. She's been battling cancer for a while, for about a year, I'd say. And I've had multiple surgeries done to remove the tumors, and I just got to a point where I knew that we can't keep putting her under anesthesia at her age. She's 17. I noticed that the previous surgery, which I had done over summer, June, July, was just a lot on her. And I just knew that if the tumor came back again, we couldn't keep this up. And so I kind of knew she was going into what I call animal hospice care at the end of November, and I took care of her. I was force feeding her 3 to 4 times a day for a few weeks. I wasn't ready to put her down yet. I just knew when the day came that I would know. I'm very in tune spiritually in communication with my animals, and I knew that she would tell me. And on December 4th, she looked at me and said, "Mom, it's time to go home." And, oh no, here goes the crying. Here we go. I told you. Sorry.
Gosh.
I'm sorry.
No. It was a lot.
Yeah, just, I've been force feeding her and taking care of her. And now it's like Lily dies and then Diva dies. And it's just like, whoa, like my uncle's gone. It's like, whoa, too much death. We're done. We're done with death. It's just too much. And,
Diva was, oh my god, she was my crochet partner. She would lie on my lap whenever I was over at Krystal's house, and she would just chill there while I was crocheting. I made her a blanket and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, she was she loved like the old lady stuff. She'd sit there and hang out with you while you knitted.
She was my cat. She was like the old lady cat, old lady that knits stuff. She was like my cat.
She loved it. She loved you, and it's weird because my Diva was very snotty. She's a Chiweenie mix, and she's just a snot. She didn't like people. She was very particular with who she liked. And when the first time Kat came over and sat down to knit, here comes Diva and sits right in her lap, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Because Diva just hates everybody. She lives up to her name, Diva. You know what I mean? And nope, she loved Kat. Yeah, and so that was just cancer sucks. That's all. Cancer sucks because it's doesn't matter what kind of money you have, if you're rich or poor, you can't battle it. You know what I mean? So it was her time, and so that was really, really effed up and traumatic, especially when you've had a pet for 17 years. That's a long time. 2 years is a long time for Lily, too, but 17 years is like a child.
Oh, of course.
It's like a teenager,
It's never enough.
Mm-mm.
It's never enough, no matter how long or how short.
Mm-mm.
It will never be enough.
Well, just the weird things you don't hear, like you said, Lily following you in the bathroom, listening to those pitter-patters. Diva marched. Do you remember when Diva marched? She marched around the house.
Yep.
She thought, she marched and she was looking for someone to fight, making sure nobody was in the house. And I just missed hearing her marches. And it's just trauma. So now we're going to get really into more trauma. I got hit a lot with a lot of trauma back to back. And so 2 days after my dog passes, I didn't get a break. 2 days after, my mother starts to get sick. And I was trying to think of somebody who I can describe my relationship with her. A lot of people make fun of the Kardashians because they're so close with Kris Jenner. They don't understand that closeness dynamic because a lot of people aren't close with their parents, and they're like, oh, it's just your mom and dad. It hurts, but it's just not like a spouse or a soulmate. But my mother and I were close like the Kardashians are with their mom. My mom was just like Kris Jenner. She would release my sex tape if that's what it took to get me famous. Yeah, and I don't mean that negatively. I just mean she would, if whatever it took for me, she would do it. And
your best friend?
Yeah, she was my best friend. She was my best friend. And I did do a podcast with her in September, and for some reason it's missing, and I just haven't gone through my archives to try to find it yet. It's very painful still that this all happened. But my mom and I, she was my biggest fan. She's my best friend. There's something very unique about a only child, only mother relationship. So I don't have any siblings, and my father left when I was 8. So he was not very involved in my life very much. Even before he left, he was not very involved in my life. And so my mom did it on her own. And this is her when she's very strong. This is her when she was young. And so she did it on her own. And there's something about just having an only child, single parent relationship where you can literally defeat the world together, we overcame so much together. And I came from, I don't want to say poverty, but there were times that my mom was on food stamps, and there were times that she suffered, and she did whatever she could to get food in her stomach. And not having my dad there for not only financial support, but emotional support. And she was amazing. And she worked really hard, worked a lot of jobs just to make sure she could get me to survive. She had me in the best schools. I was a singer, and I played piano. And so she just supported me no matter what I did. So, 2 days after Diva got sick, which is December 6th, she got a infection in her intestines. And they think that it sprung from her doctor possibly giving her too strong of a medication for her body. Because my mom was very petite. She was like 5'1", 130 pounds. She's just tiny, short, tiny. And so this illness is called C. diff. And it's actually can be quite fatal in people if they don't get it treated right away. There's like a 70% fatality rate if you don't get into the hospital right away. And she was really sick and just, she didn't want to go in for 2 days. And she kept crying to me. And she kept saying, Krystal, I just, I don't want to go to the hospital because I'm afraid if I go to the hospital, I'm going to die. And I said, God, Mom, like, it's so dark. Like, but like, you're so sick. You're at a point that I can't help you. You're going to have to go in. Something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. And thank God, because C. diff is something you have to be put on long-term IV antibiotics for. That's how serious it is. So we got her into the hospital, and it was a really poor experience at the first hospital. She kind of just suffered neglect after neglect after neglect. The first hospital that we took her to was called Spring Valley Hospital. It's in Las Vegas. And we went to that particular hospital because that is where her heart surgeon works out of. So she just wanted to be near her heart surgeon. So I respected that. Even though it's not one of the best hospitals, I decided to go ahead and agree to it because of her heart doctor. And it was just really... The C. diff is really contagious, so you have to gown up before you go in and sanitize. And the nurses just didn't want to check on her because they didn't want to have to go out of their way to actually sanitize and clean up. And it's like, I'm sorry, but it's your effing job as a nurse.
Your job.
So they would literally just neglect her. They wouldn't go in for days. So I literally lived at the hospital, and I was the one taking care of her in the hospital. I was doing the nurse's job from 9 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night when visiting hours were over, essentially. Literally, they wouldn't even clean her up because sometimes C. diff can cause like diarrhea and stuff like that. They wouldn't clean her up. The nurses wouldn't touch her. They wouldn't help her change her bedding, nothing. So after she was there for a couple of weeks, I ended up getting a hold of the nurses. What the catalyst was she had to have a blood transfusion because she'd gotten so sick from the C. diff, she needed a blood transfusion. And her nurse came in, and I don't know what he did, but it took 2 days to get the blood transfusion approved, which is not good, by the way. If you need a transfusion, you need it done quickly. For some reason, it took 2 days. So they finally get the blood bag up there. And the freaking... I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cuss because it makes me so angry. The freaking nurse punctures the blood bag somehow when he's going to insert it into her IV. And it looks like a horror movie. Blood just explodes all over the freaking room. I sent Kat pictures so she saw it.
It was bad.
Unreal. Unreal.
Honestly, it just seemed a little intentional to me.
And they got another blood bag. The problem is that now she has this donor's blood everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. It was on the floor, on her bedding. It didn't hit her skin or her head or anything, but it was everywhere. Dripping blood. It looked like a horror movie. And they let it sit there for 2 days. They didn't clean it up. Nobody came in to clean it up because she had C. diff. So she sat in this blood room, and I was throwing an absolute hissy. I was so pissed off. I was so mad. I was sending pictures all over the place to all these executives, and finally the nurse director comes down. And she's like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so she came in immediately and cleaned it up. And then they had my mom on 24-hour watch after that with only the best nurses. But it's a shame that it got to that point.
Shouldn't have gotten to that point.
No.
Period.
So moving forward, I healed her back to health. She got rid of the C. diff, but she was really, really weak. And she needed to go into some sort of like a rehab facility to get stronger and do arm work. And somebody just said, Scooby-Doo and the squad, let's go solve something. Have some effing respect right now. I'm talking about my mother who passed. Have some effing respect. Anyway, Sorry. It's just not, you don't want to mess with a healed
Not a good time.
starseed. You know what I'm saying? So, she moves to a rehab facility. I researched them thinking that it was the best one. And I noticed that she's been there for 2 days and her foot is starting to turn black. And I'm concerned because her foot's turning black. Obviously, there's no circulation going on. And if it's just the size of a quarter, this is not going to get better. So I ran down to, once again, just neglect after neglect after neglect after neglect. So I run down to the nursing staff and I'm like, someone needs to give her like an ultrasound or something on her foot. I don't know if she's not getting blood circulation, but like this is an emergency. Her foot's turning black. This is not good. And they ended up letting her sit there for 2 days. Didn't do anything. Finally said, oh, well, the doctor will be here in a week. They can check it. I'm like, she's not going to sit here for a week. She's not going to sit here for a week. There's no way in hell she's going to sit here for a week. Her foot could be black by then. Like that means no circulation. This is traumatizing. And so I immediately went and called 911 and I had her transported to what I thought was a decent hospital in Las Vegas. It's called Summerlin Hospital. So we transport her to Summerlin Hospital. Remember, she's very weak. She's just survived this like really horrible infection. And she gets to Summerlin Hospital. Now, why did I choose Summerlin Hospital? Well, it's a bougie area. You know, I'm just going to be real. There's 2 bougie areas. I lived in Southern Highlands before this, which is a very bougie area with golf courses and cats on my house. I lived in a mini mansion. And then I just recently moved to Summerlin, and it's a bougie area, and I've always wanted to live in Summerlin. So I took her to Summerlin Hospital. That's where, you know, it's the rich side of town. I was hoping that it was going to be the better hospital. And so we get her into the emergency room, and they basically check her foot, and they're like really concerned because there's just no pulse in her foot, and she's sat there for too long. She only sat there for 2 days, but it was 2 days too many. And they said that if she would have gotten in immediately, we may have been able to control this. But since it hadn't, whatever happened, she was getting no blood circulation to her foot, and she was going to have it amputated. So she basically was given 2 choices. She was given a choice of either have the leg amputated or go into a nursing facility and die a slow, painful death from sepsis. And we both just sat there in disbelief and couldn't believe what was happening. If she probably would have gotten in 1 day sooner and the nursing staff would have paid attention and done something, we may have been able to save it. But it is what it is. And of course, I only naturally have guilt for not taking her in sooner. But I thought to myself, for God's sake, she's in here in one of the bougiest rehab facilities for sure with all these doctors. It was very expensive for her to be there. They're not going to neglect her, are they? Oh, they did. So my mom sits there and talks to the doctor, and the doctor says, so what's your choice? You either have your leg amputated from the knee down or you die of sepsis. What's your choice? And she said, I don't want to die. She said, I have one child, and she's done amazing things with this thing called Ghost Girl Diaries. I'm laughing because I can hear the conversation she had with the doctor, and she says, no, you should see what my daughter's done, and I can't die because she's done some amazing things in her life, and I have to be there for her to see what she does next. And I couldn't believe my mother was choosing to have her leg amputated to choose to live for me. And
She's so strong.
She's a strong bitch.
So strong.
And so the doctor said, okay, well, we're gonna have to schedule your amputation, and you can get a a prosthetic. We'll just do whatever. And she was gonna do it. And she had the surgery on her birthday, which is December 17th. That woman is something else, y'all. Like, she's something else. She went in on her birthday, and she came out. She did great. She did amazing. She had the surgery and had her leg amputated. Didn't give a shit. I didn't hear her complain once. I didn't hear her complain about it once.
She didn't.
So, the path to healing takes a minute. And she I mean, imagine having an amputation, what that feels like, is all I have to say. It's a very painful, extremely painful process. And what started happening like 2 days after she got out of the surgery, 2 days is not enough time to heal from an amputation, by the way. The nurses started withholding her pain medication. And this is a whole nother hospital now, remember. She's calling me, screaming and crying in horrible pain, excruciating pain, saying that it literally feels like they're still cutting her leg off. She's like, I can still feel the saw even though she was out in anesthesia. And I'm like throwing an absolute hissy fit. I am just losing my shit with all these nurses because I'm like, I don't understand why she's not getting her pain medication. There's a story behind that. But hang on, I'm trying to find the name of this person really quickly in my phone. Just because I want to give receipts so that people know that I actually didn't make this up. Looks like my mom's here. She's still flashing the light behind me.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really intense back there. Hang on, I'm trying to find this particular card of this woman. So anyway, I finally get a hold of this woman, and her name is Laura. And Laura is the nurse. Oh, here it is. I have it right here. Here's the card. Let's see if I can get a shot of it up here. Summerlin Hospital. This is this woman's card. And her name is Lauren Manoria. Lauren, Lauren, Manoria, Maniora. She's an MSN RN NE-BC nurse manager of 5 West. So just so everybody can see that I'm not making that up. And you can see it. She gave me this card. Okay, so that's receipts. So anyway, I'm complaining to Lauren. Why is she not getting her her medication? Well, in the computer, they were marking that they gave her the medication, and we found out that the nurses were stealing her pain medication and not giving it to her, and they were keeping it and pocketing it. So you have this elderly woman who's in her early 70s who's literally being withheld pain medication because your nurses are addicts and or drug dealers. And I've found out about it. So now everybody's pissed. I've just blown this whole operation they have going on of stealing people's pain medication.
There was an investigation.
Oh yeah,
there was an investigation that happened.
There was, and I blew it. I was the one that blew it open because I was like, no, my mother's not gonna. Because what was happening is they couldn't give her another dose of pain medication because it was already marked in the computer that she got it. And then they're trying to play this card of, oh, your mom's old and dumb, and she forgot she took the pain medication. I'm like, are you? Oh, it's elder abuse. It was crazy. It was insane. So as if that's not bad enough, because I'm throwing an absolute hissy about this. Like, my mom's calling, you know what it's like to hear your mother call you screaming and crying. She's in excruciating pain after a freaking amputation. It's horrifying. You know,
they couldn't hear her.
They would ignore her. They weren't coming in to check on her. She had her nurses laid on. They ignored her. They didn't come in. So she'd have to call me. And I was literally having to go up the chain in the hospital, Summerlin Hospital in Las Vegas, to try to figure out who to call. I was literally, I don't even know how many phone calls I made to try to this whole situation. So anyway, this Laura, so I find out, so this other nurse comes in, she gets involved. Her name's Jennifer. Jennifer ends up going in the computer and looks at my mom's profile and says, oh, you know the nurse manager, Lauren, that you met and you have her card for? She put a note in your mother's profile that says, do not go in and help the patient because the family is unruly and they just want to fight with you and they're just angry all the time. The nurse manager put a note in my mother's profile to not attend to the patient if she was crying out in pain and to not listen to the family's requests and demands. Is that a nurse? Is that a healthcare provider to you?
It's just a nightmare.
A patient's had an amputation, and because I blew your drug operation, you're going to put a note in my mom's profile to not help her and let her sit there in excruciating pain when she's had one of the most traumatizing surgeries you can have? Y'all are evil. Y'all are evil scumbags.
No soul. For For real. No empathy, nothing.
So, my mom is sitting there just in horrible pain, and one nurse in particular, this is around the 27th, 28th of December. One nurse, this is a freaking horror story to tell. This is a freaking horror story. One nurse gets busted for stealing my mother's pain medication. One nurse in particular.
They demoted her, didn't
They removed her from patient care, is what I was told. Okay. So this nurse got in trouble for stealing my mom. They busted whoever the main one was. On the night of the 28th to the 29th, so technically at about 4 in the morning, my mother calls me and puts me on speakerphone and tells me to just shut up and listen to what's happening. The nurse that got demoted or in trouble for stealing my mom's pain medication is in my mother's room. And she snuck in while my mom was asleep, because remember, she's been removed from patient care, so she's not supposed to be in my mom's room. She probably got in trouble for stealing the narcotics. She has now injected my mother's IV with an unknown substance. And within hours, my mother is not able to breathe. I'm on the phone listening to this happen. What happened was the nurse injected my mother, and the charge nurse named John walks in and finds out she's injected my mother with an unknown substance. And what I listened to was a 15-minute screaming match between John, the charge nurse, and the nurse that got in trouble. Because he's saying, you should never inject a patient with a medication that's not prescribed to them. By the way, we've never figured out what that medication was. I assume that the medication that was injected in my mother's IV was erythromycin, because my mother is deathly allergic to erythromycin, and it's on her profile. So this nurse that got in trouble probably got busted, or found that and from getting busted, and used that against my mom. So I was not the only witness to this fight happening. My mom calls me a couple hours later, and she's not able to breathe. She's having chest pressure. She's had previous heart issues. Her oxygen is low, which means she's not breathing well. Her heart rate is high, and she's begging them to see a doctor. And because of what Jennifer put in her profile, they will not even let her see a fucking doctor. I'm in there. I'm in there 24/7. I can only stay till 8 o'clock at night. But if you bet your ass from 9 a.m. till 8 at night, I am at the hospital. I am screaming. I am fighting with people. I'm begging. I'm talking to everybody I see, begging someone to help me. I went down to the management of the hospital in Summerlin Hospital. I did everything. I probably made 70 phone calls to people in that hospital. She sat there for 3 fucking days with her lungs and her heart shutting down. And she did not see a fucking doctor once. On the 3rd day, I begged with pleading eyes Blake to go up to the hospital. Because of COVID, you can only have one patient, or one guest in because of Rona. I'm not the kind to ask for help. Blake has a previous history of being a medic in the Army. He had 2 deployments under his belt. He is well versed in medicine. He worked at a major trauma center in Afghanistan. I begged him to go in to see my mom. I know that he's a man, and he's big. He's 6'1", 300 pounds, and I know that if a large man like that throws a fit, someone's going to listen. So he went into the hospital. He had to analyze her. She's shortness of breath. She can hardly speak because she's hardly breathing. Her oxygen's low, her heart rate is through the ceiling, and they're just letting her sit there. They're just letting her sit there waiting for her to die. And Blake absolutely loses his shit. Thank God he went up there when he did. While he's there, throwing a fit with the nurses are so mad because, once again, remember, Jennifer put in my profile that her family's unruly and that they don't talk to her and not to talk to us. So Blake's just another problem. They called security on Blake. Security came rushing up, tried to get Blake arrested and get him removed and banned from the hospital. When Blake told security, you know, here's the thing with security, right? Because Blake was technically security in the Army. They just get each other. So luckily, Blake made friends with the security really quick, explained to them, she is dying and they're neglecting her. And I am her advocate. They were like, we can't escort or arrest this person out of the building. He's advocating for this patient who can't speak. Thank God. Thank God. So while Blake is there with my mom, she stops breathing. She stops breathing. And they find out she has fluid in her lungs. And they rush her up to the cardiac unit. So she's been sitting there for 3 days with fluid building in her lungs.
Nightmare.
Shouldn't
have gotten to that point.
I think that they knew they got in trouble for the drugs and the narcotics. I think that the whole staff was in on it, including Jennifer. And I think that that's why they wouldn't let my mom see a doctor for 3 days. I think that they knew what they were doing. I think they knew they were going to get in trouble for stealing the narcotics. I think they knew I was on to them. And they knew I was not going to just stop and be complacent, and they were going to let my mom die and punish me for them getting in trouble for the narcotics. So, my mom got rushed to the cardiac unit. They immediately get her on medication, and they're going to try to get her stabilized. And I have a sense of relief at this point, because she should have never been in a normal unit with her heart problems anyways. I think that because of the Rona, healthcare, look, I'm not going to disrespect healthcare workers. I understand that you guys have done a lot for us, and it's not anything specifically or personal, but I think that healthcare workers have been through a lot, to the point where I think that patients are being very neglected because it's been too stressful. But I also think that there's been some healthcare workers that have taken advantage of the system, and particular ones that were with my mom. I'm not saying all healthcare workers are bad, but I'm saying the ones I've dealt with have now made me not trust healthcare workers. My mom got rushed up to the cardiac unit. I had a sense of relief. I sat with her for that whole day, and she wasn't good. I just knew she wasn't good. She was struggling to breathe. She was crying. She kept telling me that it would be easier for her to die. And I was like begging her to hold on. I said, you're in safe hands now, please. And by the way, when she got to the cardiac unit, she had amazing nurses. She really did.
They were angels.
Yeah.
Angels. Absolute angels.
It was nothing like 5th floor of Summerlin. Don't ever go to 5th floor on Summerlin unless you want to die. Summerlin Hospital. Specifically 5th floor west. Long story short is I stayed with her till 8 o'clock at night, and she knew I was tired. She knew I had been there a lot. They told me I could stay all night, and my mom's like, go home. Go home. You're going to kill yourself. You've been with me for the whole month. You're going to kill yourself. Go home. And you know what? I did, and I fucking shouldn't have. Honestly, I shouldn't have. I'm just pissed off at myself. It's just natural for grief. And I left. I was tired. And I felt relief with her being there. And I got a phone call at 5:04 a.m. on December 29th that she'd had a massive heart attack. She had a stroke, and she'd coded for 14 minutes. They got her heart beating again. But you don't want to code past 10 minutes. If you code past 10 minutes, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. And she'd coded before, you know. She coded before on the heart table when she had her triple bypass. She was put on life support. The first day she was conscious. I posted videos on my Instagram of her responding to me, squeezing my hand and kicking her foot when I would ask her questions the first day she was conscious. She was on life support for 11 days. Uh, she ended up getting weaned off of life support. She was on what they call CPAP air, which is basically like room air. So essentially, the life support is no longer doing a job. You have to just remove them from it at some point. And honestly, she never wanted to be on life support. She came to me in a dream about 5 days in and told me, my body's not healing. And she said, you're going to have to make a very difficult decision to remove me from life support. And she said, I don't think I'm going to make it. And she said, I don't want you to panic. She said, I'm trying to heal, but my body is not healing. And she said, do not feel guilt over this because I am telling you what to do. I am telling you that you're going to have to remove me from life support. And she said, the decision does not have to be made tomorrow, but the decision will have to be made. And I woke up the next day remembering. And I went in and they were running tests and brain scans. If you code past 10 minutes, there's a 98% chance you have brain damage. For some reason, she was not showing brain damage.
So strong. So resilient.
She was not showing brain damage. They couldn't figure it out. They were shocked. Constant over and over. Yeah, just disbelief. The doctors couldn't believe it. You know, they did all these brain scans and they just not showing any trauma. It was very strange. And
she's so strong.
She's a badass. Not conscious though. Her eyes were open sometimes. She was uncomfortable with the tube down her throat. It's just none of my business what people decide, but let me tell you, after seeing my mother on life support on 11 days, you don't want your family like that. It's a plastic tube that goes in your throat. It's a ventilator, and the damage that it does to your esophagus is horrible. So I'm going to be changing my will and testament as well, and making sure that if I'm on life support, it needs to be for under 10 days or even less than that, because it messes you up. They had to take the tube out. She was coughing up blood, and it was just horrible to watch. You just don't put someone through it. Don't put yourself through it. I don't want to be like that. If I'm at that point, I'm going to go. I'm going to go home. I'm done. My body's done. So anyway, they had her on CPAP air for 2 days. She was breathing on her own. And I was with her, as long as I could be. I held her hand. I talked, cried. I was there every minute that I could be. I was with her for every second. We talked about when I was little and all the struggles we had been through. And my father left when I was 8. And I've forgiven him since, but he was a real piece of shit. My mother had 2 vehicles when I was little, and he moved away with his mistress when I was 8, and the night that he moved, he took both cars with him and left my mother without a vehicle when I was 8 years old. And my mother and I, for years, had no vehicle and walked everywhere. We walked in snowstorms together. And I was little, and I remember having my snow boots on and just trying to keep up with my mom, and we can do anything together. And those were the stories I was telling her. I was like, if we can make it through all those snowstorms together walking, we can make it through this. We've made it through so much worse. We can keep going. We made it through all the snowstorms together. We can make it through this. And we were just so close. We were best friends. We weren't mother and daughter. We're best friends. I assume we've lived many lives together. And she was on room air for 2 days. And I spent every minute with her, and we shared memories and talked, and I took pictures. And I swear sometimes she would respond by looking at me or blinking. But I knew that she wasn't there. It was just her vessel. It was just her fucking vessel. She was gone. She'd already been gone. If she was there, then her soul was in the room with me. It wasn't her body. And I said, don't do this to me. I said, I know when I leave, you're going to freaking die. You're gonna do it when I'm gone. I just know how you are. You're so strong. And you don't ever want me to be affected. And you're gonna do it when I'm gone. And I said, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. The first day taking someone off life support is horrible because you wait for them to die. If they've been on it for that long, you wait for them to stop breathing. And so the doctor had told me the day they took her off life support to make sure that I could be there all day. And she did not die. She was like, nope, not going yet. Sorry. And I
remember you calling me and telling me those things too. You just felt like she was going to go when you weren't there.
And they had to suction her from, just the coughing up from just the esophagus being destroyed. And, the third day, it was nighttime. I left the hospital at 8 o'clock. That's visiting hours. And I got the phone call at 9:01 p.m. 61 minutes after I had left that she died. And I was pissed at her. I was so mad at her. I was like, I knew you were going to do this when I was gone. I knew you wouldn't do it while I was here. I freaking knew it. And I raced back up to the hospital. I got to see her. And then shit got dark again. You're dealing with trauma of someone dying who was literally murdered by the nurses. And she was murdered. My mother was murdered by the nursing staff. 100%. She was injected and she was neglected and she was murdered. And I will stand by that. And I will stand on that hill till the day I die. Because she survived the amputations. She survived the C. diff. She was fine. In fact, by the time she had gotten the injection from that stupid nurse that killed her, her amputation had fully healed. It makes me fucking sick that she made it through C. diff and made it through the amputation and died at the hands of some psychotic nurse. Psychotic nurse. Absolutely psychotic. It gets better. If you think that's where the story ends, it doesn't. I requested an autopsy. And when that happens in Vegas, you have to tell the nursing staff you request an autopsy. I wanted to see if I had talked to my attorney. And my attorney said if she'd been injected, we can do some sort of a blood report, toxicology, to see if whatever's in there is still there. And so I requested an autopsy to be done. And then when you request an autopsy, you have to fill out a form. And you have to tell them why you're requesting this autopsy. And then I had planned and arranged for a certain funeral home to pick up the body and they transport it to the coroner and all that stuff. And so I left and they said, obviously I told the nurses why I was requesting the autopsy. And legally they were supposed to get the coroner involved. When someone requests it, you respect it, period. Well, guess where she died? She died on 5th floor. They had transported her back to 5th floor. And I think that whole nursing staff was all in cahoots. She wasn't in 5th West, but she was back on 5th floor. And I told them that she was injected by a nurse on 5th floor. And the coroner never gets a phone call. The coroner never gets involved and an autopsy is never done. In fact, the funeral home doesn't pick her up and her body becomes lost. My mom's body was lost for 3 days. I couldn't find her. I didn't know if they'd taken her into the desert, done something with her. You have horrible thoughts when something like that happens. You have the most horrible thoughts. Did they switch her with another patient? Did they just take her into the desert like some mobster and throw her in a hole? You just have horrible thoughts. And I had horrible thoughts. And what do? Where are you supposed to go? You're helpless. Who am I supposed to call? The hospital's not communicating with me. They don't want anything to do with me at this point, to the point where they've literally taken my mom and no one can find her. I'm calling all these funeral homes. Nobody can find her. The coroner, I call the coroner. They never even got the report. They never even got the report that I'd requested. They probably didn't want to get in trouble. By the third day, I get a phone call from the originally funeral home that I'd requested her to go to, and they found her. And she'd gotten mixed up with another coroner, so another funeral home. So I know they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. And the reason they did this was because if the coroner doesn't pick the body up from the hospital directly, the coroner cannot get involved legally, and that might just be the state of Nevada, but that's how it is. So now that they've lost her body for 3 days and she's been moved, the coroner can't do an autopsy because it could have been tampered with. Conveniently. Which is technically, evidence, being destroyed. But I found her. My mom did not want to have an open casket or visitation, but I had to make sure it was her. I had to make sure that they had my mom. And I'm so traumatized at this point. It's just like, what else could happen? There was so much relief when they finally had the viewing. I could go see her, and she was there. It was her. Her wishes, our indigenous family is cremation. That's how our family is ashes and ashes and dust to dust. So I had her cremated. And then when I finally got her ashes home, I can't tell you the relief that I had with having her home with me after all of that. I hired several attorneys to go over her entire medical report. And I was planning on suing the hospital, and I can't. There are laws in the state of Nevada, probably from the mobster days when they did sketchy things. They probably still do sketchy things. And the laws protect the institution. The institution is protected, and I cannot go after the hospital. I can't go after anyone. And so I was processing that for the last week or two because I've had attorneys going over her medical record with tooth and comb, and there's nothing they can do. The only thing I can do is share her story. I can't sue them. To say I'm traumatized is an understatement, and the fact that I've been sharing my story on social media, you can't imagine how many people actually go through this. There's a lot of people
reached out to you.
So many people, yeah. And it weirdly ties into paranormal because we go to these asylums and talk about patients being abused, and women would get stuck in an asylum for having horrible period cramps, and they would get raped from these people and the abuse that went on. People think that abuse happened only in the 1800s. No, it still happens to this day. It's still happening. Patients are still dying at the hands of healthcare workers. It's just being hid, and the institutions are being protected by it. I wanted this nurse to be held accountable, and I wanted her to be fired. The one that injected my mother. I don't even have her last name. They wouldn't give me her last name. They protect each other. The system protects itself. They're not there to protect the patients.
Messed up.
So yeah, to say I'm traumatized is an understatement. I went through a lot of trauma. My belief systems have changed. I don't believe in heaven anymore. Heaven doesn't exist. The other side exists, and that's home. And that's where we're all from. Hell doesn't exist either. Just in my opinion and what I've experienced with my mother, crossing over. My mother and I are so close with our bond that she's been very come forth to me about what the other side is like. I have dreams, I have visions, and I'm also very connected to my spirit guides now. They come to me with information almost nightly. I'm in the process of writing a book, and I'm not saying that it's by myself. It's with my guides, and it's with my mother, because they're wanting me to share this information with everyone that's connected to the other side or wants to be connected to the other side. When we die, we just go home. This isn't home. She's home. And I've looked at my journey and my path here in my incarnation this time very differently now. And I'm really excited to share that with everyone ongoing in the future because I'm still learning. My guides are still teaching me about what the other side is about. My mother's still coming forward to me every day with information. I'm going to be okay. This is probably the most traumatizing thing I've ever been through in my life. It's probably watching my mother suffer for those 3 days where she wasn't able to breathe after the nurse injected her was the most traumatizing days of my life. Watching her slowly dying and watching nurse and doctor staff walk by in the hallway, ignoring a patient wheezing with previous heart issues and a previous bypass was horrifying to watch. I felt like I was in the middle of Times Square, screaming my lungs out, begging for help, and everyone just kept walking by. I moved.
Describe.
My mental health is bad. I have good days and I have bad days, and I've been very open in talking about this with social media. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I have nightmares, and I dream about, my mother's scenario replaying from start to finish, and how I could have changed it or fixed it. Of course, I want to blame myself. I know that I need to forgive myself. That comes time with grief. It's only been a couple of months. She died on January 17th. I have nightmares. I wake up, start running down the hallway looking for her bedroom. I moved a month and a half after she passed away, and so I'm in a new house, and I still get up in the middle of the night and go looking for her, half asleep. So I have some trauma going on from that. Mental health is very important. That's why I think it's important to talk about it. I've gotten 2 of my dogs registered as emotional support dogs, and they've been in training. I'm not well. I'm not the same person I used to be. I've changed a lot. I've been through some really dark times. After my mom got sick, Kat's mom got sick. Once again, we have similarities. Her mom definitely was not where my mom was, thank God. Kat had a fear, though. Kat was living in a real fear that because we go through things so similarly, that she was going to go through something I was. I think she has also experienced some PTSD and trauma from living it through my eyes. Luckily, her mom's okay. It was not even nearly as severe. But I'm very... Blake was there for me through my mom and Kat. And if it weren't... And Josh, of course, and Elfie. But my light just flashed again. If it weren't for them being there, and Kat was there more than anyone because I was on the phone with her every single day for hours at a time, I don't think I would have made it through that. So I just want to thank you, Kat, for being my sister and incarnating and being there for me, because it was the utmost dark time of my life. It was the darkest time of my life, and thank you, because without you I would not have made it. And, spiritually, I've had a lot of psychics walk up to me since this has happened. I probably had 30 or 40 psychics walk up to me in the last few months. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm walking around with this positive energy like I normally am, and I think that they can see right through it. They see the baggage that I'm holding. And of course I'm doing shadow work and working on it, but it's just grief. It's working through the stages of grief, and I'm not at acceptance quite yet, which is the last stage. But these psychics are like energy vampires, and they see me, and it's like, it makes me feel some days, like, I can't go to Walmart and just go shopping because there's going to be a psychic that sees me and sees my energy and has to walk up to me. And I've had some shitty people walk up to me. I had this one psychic walk up to me a few weeks ago, and she's like, oh, you have some things going on, and I want to talk to you. And she's like, let's step aside because I don't want people to hear. Well, I'm not doubting her gifts, you know, like she's like, your mother just passed away and she's standing with you. She's been with you, and your mother's with you and all this stuff. And of course, you know, it's to prove that she's real. And I didn't doubt that. And she goes, I can give you a reading right now for $50. And I was like, I wasn't out looking for a reading. I was buying cat litter at freaking Walmart. What do you want from me?
Right.
And so I gave her $5 out of my purse because she literally was following me around the store, and I just wanted her to go away. By the way, who carries cash at this point? I don't have cash. I don't even know where that $5 came from.
Cash.
Yeah. So she starts telling me, and she was accurate. She's like, you've got to forgive yourself. And like, you know, it's really nothing that I didn't know. And she's talking about my mom dying and your mom's with you and she's so strong. But then she ends the conversation with saying, your mother had a curse on her, and it was placed there by your dad and stepmom, which, by the way, I wouldn't doubt anyways. Which I was like, yeah, I know my stepmom was a cray-cray bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, my stepmom was evil. I agree with that. I also not new information, okay?
She was the curse.
She was, yeah. But but you know what that is to say to somebody who's experiencing trauma and grief? I'm going through like a murder. My mother was murdered, and you're going to tell me my mom was cursed. And then in that next sentence, she says that the curse has now been passed on to me, and the only way to heal said curse is I have to pay this psychic $400 for a chakra cleanse. She's going to spray me with holy water and do spell work around me with candle magic. And I looked at her and I was like, pack sand, bitch. Like, I'm sorry, but like, no, you know, this is what they do to people who are vulnerable. Think about the people that will actually pay for it because they're scared.
It's messed up.
So anyway, I went and got a Reiki cleanse just to make sure. And my friend that did. I have this friend that does Reiki cleanses, and she was like, and she can see energy. She's like, Krystal, you don't have a curse on you. I'm like, I'm just making sure, okay? Just make sure.
Long. Jeez, the long haul.
But yeah, just evil person. So then I had another psychic walk up to me. What was this, 2 days ago? I told you about it?
Yeah.
3 days ago? And I'm standing in line and I'm shopping, and I'm having another mental health day where I'm just like, God, I just can't function. So I have to do some serotonin. So I went shopping and got a dog bed, you know. And I'm standing in line, and I hear this guy over my shoulder, and he's like, oh my God, like abundance, so much money. Like, you're a Taurus. Like you attract Venus. You know, you're surrounded by Venus, and you have all this money, and you have, you know, so much success and like fortune, good fortune, and your family has good fortune coming to you. And I hear him talking. So I heard all of this, but I'm like, is he on the phone or something? Like, I'm an Aquarius moon. I'm very aware of my surroundings. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm still standing there like, just don't be rude and turn around. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, your mother was murdered. Your mother was murdered. And then I was like, you know, like my head turned. And then I was like, and he's looking at me. And so he was talking. So he's reading my energy, right? And he's like, I'm psychic. So he's telling me like, your mother's with you every single day. And like, you know, telling me, and he did say some stuff that's like private and that was healing. And, you know, like I was really appreciative of it. You know what I mean? And, I walked outside and he followed me. He'd asked me what my name was. I just gave him my first name. I said Krystal because I know people are going to look me up. I'm like, no, you're not going to tailcoat me. And he follows me. I said, Krystal. I was like, you've been around, you know, you've had a lot of psychics. And he goes, I thought you were Christian. I saw your cross on your clothing. Someone said, I am sorry. I thought you were Christian. I saw your cross on your clothing. What?
Don't even get me on this soapbox.
So I'm not religious because I'm wearing black with a cross. Okay. Kat's former Catholic. Don't start her on this. Okay, that's
Don't start with me. Don't start.
It's because I was talking about psychics.
Start with me. You know what? You can start with me because I'm pagan. So
oh my God. Oh
Once
no.
Catholic, now pagan. Don't even get me started.
Cat's on the soapbox. You can't get her off now. Oh my god.
Give me all this, yeah, time.
So the guy behind me is talking about, like, you know, I'm sorry, he follows me out. God, don't get me confused. I thought she meant Christian, my Christian.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought you were having like a psychic moment.
I thought this person was, which is why she said Christian. I was like, oh my god, did someone see Christian here? You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Jesus. Anyway,
Just kidding.
I can't. So that's why I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt it, but I thought when she said Christian, I was like, I saw Christian. Which is a weird correlation, isn't it? Like, anyway, so this guy follows me out. He goes, "You don't believe in psychics?" Or he goes, "You've had really bad experiences with psychics, and you don't believe if they're all real." And I just kind of was like, whatever. So he pulls out a piece of paper. He writes like all this stuff on it. He like folds up this little piece of paper, hands it to me, tells me to put it in my hand, and tells me not to open it. And I said, okay. And he starts asking me all these random questions. This is the same guy that was like, you have so much abundance and your mother's with you. And he's the one that said your mother got murdered and all this stuff. And so I believe him, obviously. And once again, I'm not discrediting or like questioning his gifts. So I'm holding this piece of paper. So he starts asking me these random questions. So he's like, if you have like a rose, a lily, and a hibiscus flower, which one do you choose? And I was like, rose. I don't know. You know what I mean? And then he's like, okay, you have 4 colors. You have red, green, red, and purple. Which one do you like the most? And I was like, red. So it's just like really random questions. And so anyway, it was like 5 or 6 questions. I open up the piece of paper and he has all my answers on them in order. So he predicted everything before I said it. So I know he was legit. He didn't really have to prove it to me. But we're standing there talking and he's telling me like, you know, like you have more healing you need to do. I'm like, yeah, it's been 2 months since she died. Like, I don't think it's going to happen that quick, you know, like for anybody. Especially this, like if she would have died naturally or like in surgery, it would have probably been easier to heal from rather than like a murder. Like she was murdered. Like this person injected her to make her heart and lungs stop. She was murdered. And then they let her sit there for 3 days dying. I'm sorry, she was murdered. And so anyway, so he's like talking to me and he's giving me more information on my family on the other side and all this stuff. I'm like, you know, cool, grateful, like, you know, but once again, this is unsolicited. I'm not asking, I have like no expression on my face. Remember, I'm having a bad mental health day. I'm really in public, but not wanting to like communicate with people. You know what I mean? And then the end of the conversation, he pulls out this other piece of paper, and this is unsolicited. And he goes, I have 3 tiers, 200, 400, or 600. Which one would you like to donate to my charity for your reading?
Ruined it.
Now, how many people would actually do that? I don't know.
Probably a lot. I mean, you know,
he's saying it's for like homeless children and like children of the poor and needy, and I'm like, dude, I read energy too, and you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's okay to be a psychic or, you know, spiritualist and like need money. And he does have a gift, but he's going about it all wrong. Like all wrong. So anyway, he gave me his phone number and I texted him I have an extra work phone number. I didn't want him to have my personal number. I did text him today. And I said, you know, I just thought I'd let you know because I think he was mad I didn't donate to him. But, you know, every time a psychic comes up to you and gives you unsolicited advice, you shouldn't have to donate to them. I didn't ask him for a reading. I wasn't out in public. I didn't schedule a reading with you. You walked up to me. Mm-hmm. You know? And so I texted him today and I said, hey, you know, you were amazing. I said, you know, you're clearly gifted. And I said, just in case you want the offer, I run a like podcast and it's based off spiritualism and stuff and paranormal. And I'd love to bring you on because I think that, you know, if you're needing money for your gift, there's probably people, if I recommend you, they would be willing to pay for your gift because you are legit. If you're needing money for you or your like, you know, orphans, whatever you want to call it, like, but right. Still, I get it. If people are booking with you, you're going to make money off of it. You know what I mean? And he got offended. He got offended. He's like, I don't do this on social media. He got like offended at me that I even would like offer him to be on social media. And I was like, look, okay. I was like, I don't know if that's how you make your money, walking up to random people asking for money for orphanages. Good luck. Like, that's not the way of 2022.
No.
You know? So yeah, he got offended, and then I was like, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry. Thank God I texted him from an extra number. And the conversation with him saying, like, he was offended and that he would pray for me.
I'm triggered.
I was like, okay.
I'm triggered.
So,
I didn't know that.
I thought I would save it for the stream so that you could get.
Oh, man.
This is Kat's live reaction right here.
What the? You know, see, that's a way to get you. I'll pray for you.
I'll pray for you. I told him, I said, YouTube. That's what I said. I said back, YouTube. Hail Satan, Kat. Okay, so anyways, now we're getting back into more lighthearted conversation. You see where I'm going with this?
Hot.
You know? Oh, God. Your Aries is out.
Triggering. It's fine.
So,
drink some water.
Are you okay? Your Aries is on fire?
Please.
See, I don't get offended by stuff like that. I'm just like, whatever, dude. I was like, literally, like, I have a lot of followers. Like, you guys would absolutely love it if I, you know that if I'm going to refer somebody, it's going to be a legitimate referral. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for the ability that he has, it was legit, and it would be worth paying $200 or $400. Not necessarily in a dying economy currently with gas prices at $5 a gallon. But anyway, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if I'm referring them, they're going to be legit. So people will pay that price. So anyway, that's fine. Let's get off that soapbox. I'm sorry I triggered your Aries. Are you okay now?
Trigger religious trauma.
So, okay.
No
so
hate to anybody, but, you know.
I mean, who said I wasn't religious because I'm wearing a cross? It doesn't mean I'm not religious.
Did they say anything again?
No, caffeinated Christy, I think, went off on him for a second.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. Elfie, no, just no. Oh, Elfie's been quiet this whole time. Here she comes.
Is she there?
Her Scorpio stellium's like, I'll come after you. Boo. Yeah, Elfie's here. Okay, so next topic is, I had some people that tried to cancel me in summer of 2021.
We don't, yeah.
And we'll just call them people.
Them who shall not be named.
Invisible.
Everybody knows, but you know.
Yeah, so I wanted to address this because I was kind of suicidal when that happened.
That was a really dark time. That was a very dark time.
Yeah, I was kind of suicidal because this person, who's unnamed, lived with me, and I cared about this person as a friend, and I financially helped this person. I was going through a lot. Blake was having mental health issues. My mom was sick. Nope, I wasn't really talking about it on social media. My mom was sick. She was in a wheelchair. And she'd had like another botched job by another doctor. And she had a toe amputated. And it just was a botched job. So I was going through a lot. And this person was a friend. Like, I considered this person a friend. Like, obviously I don't think you just let anybody live with you. And this person signed an NDA and decided to do a tell-all video about me on YouTube, which has now been removed. Which, you know, thank God I released my book, because I don't think you don't have any dirt on me because it's all in my book. But this person wanted to talk about Blake's mental health publicly by releasing this YouTube video, and that's messed up because this person also had mental health issues. I don't think you should be making fun of someone with mental health when you're also suffering from mental health. You know what I mean? So, and trying to like take jabs at me for it. And then the funny part is that we go on to win 5 film festivals. And now this person can't brag anymore about being a part of it, because if you use me as a reference, I'm going to tell them that you tried to defame me, defamation. I'm still building a case with my attorney for the defamation. You know what I mean? Like, and by the way, I have dirt on other people. When you have friendships, you experience trauma together, and you share private information. And I know their private information, and just let me let you know that I would never share private information about these people publicly. So that says a lot more about me than you. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you want to share my private information and my trauma and what I've gone through? this is why we can't have nice things. I'm Taylor Swift and I've locked the doors and I've taken away the key and you're Conway West. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know what it is too, is instead of focusing so much on someone else, you should be focusing on yourself. And we wish that for you.
The problem is with people, because it's not just one person, it's a couple.
Several.
The problem is that when you cut your energy off from energy vampires, they get angry. The problem is that when your energy is no longer accessible to others, it makes them mad. And that's what happened. Was I had too much going on trying to help Blake with his mental health, and my mom was sick and neglecting myself, and I would never out somebody like that. I would never take pride in someone else's trauma. I think that's really sick.
It's a lot of energy. Honestly, it's kind of exhausting to think about. You really have to have it out for somebody to sit there and waste your time and energy on the past.
Somebody's always got to be the villain, and I guess I'm it because I'm the one that's built the YouTube channel, but I haven't done anything anyone else can do. Anybody else can build a YouTube channel. Anybody else can be successful. You just have to actually work to do it. But, you know, because I'm living my life publicly and you were an actual friend in my life, you decided you're going to out me on private things. And I know some serious tea on this person, some serious childhood trauma, and I would never frickin' talk about it because I'm not an asshole. I also believe in karma, and every time somebody does something hard or bad to me, I ask my guides to give them a lesson back. And it may not be the same lesson, but if your cat got sick or something happened, maybe it's because you put a lot of negative energy out into the world. And the funny part of full circle is I was so depressed and suicidal in summer of 2021 for this person that I thought was a friend outing me. It doesn't even hurt anymore. I just went through the worst thing I could ever go through with my mother being murdered, and I lost her. And I am literally titanium bulletproof now. No matter what anybody does or tries to hurt me or cancel me because I went through trauma, ain't gonna happen. You can't hurt me. I've had people from the past messaging Kat that used to like volunteer with me. They literally worked with me for like 3 months of my life years ago. And they're messaging Kat trying to get us to stop talking and stop communicating. It's just ridiculous, honestly.
Trying to get me to leave GGD.
Yeah, trying to get you to quit GGD because I'm the devil or whatever to work for. And if that's the case, I guess you should have gone a while ago. You know what I'm saying? But
it's silly. It's silly. There's bigger fish to fry here, and other people that are going through worse things, aka what Krystal went through.
yeah, you know, when you haven't had adult problems like I have, none of that stuff matters anymore.
No.
Adult problems are when your mom's murdered and you've gone through real trauma. Everything else doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. Idiots, and ignore them. But, you know, I stopped talking to a lot of these people because they all talked shit about each other. Behind each other's backs.
Watching.
And
probably watching.
But they all talk about each other and they don't even know it. They talk bad about each other and they're trying to be friends and they don't even know they've already turned against each other, and it's embarrassing. And
they have talked about each other.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
And now I've won 5 film festivals as director, which I'm very proud of. Congratulations. You've won 5 festivals as a producer. Congratulations. And we can brag about that. And
Worked hard for that.
And yeah, here we are. And it's kind of goes into soul contracts too, like how important soul contracts are. Like you and I incarnated together. My mom and I are a soul contract. I'm really getting into some spiritual shit, so I can't wait to share that with you guys. I know a lot of people are going to ask, like, you know, we got signed to a major production company last summer, Elfie, Kat, and I. And how's that going? So I wanted... Was it a year?
Ago,
Yeah.
Yeah, a year ago, 2 days ago.
Okay. So we're not out of contract yet until mid-May. So I can't really talk about specifics. I'm still having the same battle I've ever had, which is female and paranormal. The series tried to get signed as witches in paranormal, and I knew that would tank because executive producers that are involved with networks are old white men. Let's just be real. And old white men are Christian. And old white men don't like witchy stuff. And old white men don't want to put, you know, $4 million into doing a series or something like that, because it's scary to think that you're a quote witch or a pagan, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is I didn't want to sell it as a witch show. I didn't want to.
No.
I didn't want to. You know, like Elfie and Kat do practice the craft. Me, not really, honestly. I've tried it before, but not really into it anymore.
You know what? And that also goes into the practice of, you know, being a witch, and witchcraft is not an aesthetic; it is a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and you're right. They were going to try to sell it to make money off of the witchy aesthetic. Yeah.
Which would have caused even more chaos within the community. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's not
Well,
it.
and I knew essentially when we tried to sell this as a witchy show, it wasn't going to work. I just knew it. But I can't control what producers decide. I can only, you know.
Of course. But I mean, like, wearing black and stuff doesn't necessarily equate to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that would have.
Yeah, because I'm wearing a cross and black lace doesn't mean I'm a Satan worshiper. Let's just get that clear. Sorry, that's my dogs. They barked at that.
I thought that was a person talking. I was like,
no.
Hello? Woo!
But anyway, so yeah, I'm crabby about it because it's just we're still at this same uphill battle. Am I done trying to get it signed? No, I'm not done with that. We just have to reroute a little bit here, and we did reroute because in February, after my mom passed, I was a mess, and Kat flew out for like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. 2 weeks,
Yep.
2-3 weeks.
2.5 weeks. It was like 2.5 weeks, I think. Yeah.
And while we were sitting there one night hanging out,
It's like, you know.
wait, like it wasn't a total one night idea. Like we'd been throwing around shooting another pilot or a feature for like a while.
Yeah, but I think after everything that happened with, you know, crazy ex-employees and such, it was just a lot to think about. It was a lot to think about,
It
you
was.
know?
Yeah, hitting the record button is really easy usually, but like that was overwhelming for some people, you know?
I just want to go there.
So, but we had talked about, and especially we were kind of on a high from winning 5 film festivals. We were like, we can't really let this go to the wayside. I think we really stand a good shot at this. What if we do this again, but do it like even freaking better?
Yeah.
And so it's not like it was a total overnight, but like there was one night you were in Vegas. And when Kat's in Vegas, shit's crazy. We're just like, we're running around, we're like shopping, we're doing all kinds of stuff. And it was like a breath of fresh air. I needed it because I felt like I had just been suffocated for so long with dealing with my mom in the hospital and sick. And one night, Kat's like, dude, we need to just shoot another freaking movie. Like, shoot something. And I was like, what? Like right now. And she's like, yeah, like right now. She's like, I know you're upset. And she's like, if you can't handle travel, but she's like, I think if you get out of the state, you're going to feel better. And I was like, oh my God. Mm. So like for a couple days, I was wishy-washy. Remember, I was like, I don't know. I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to a shoot. I was like, do you think we can pull this off really quickly?
Yeah.
And you were like, we've got this. And so
we did the pilot.
Yeah, you and I. Yep.
Did the pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, so, even post-production. Yeah. Yep, 100%.
Mailers and everything.
Oh my God. Like, we have to share that story.
That was fun. That was so fun.
So one day I wake up and I'm done being, and you weren't pushing me, which was great, but you, like, even Elfie was like, I think this is a freaking great idea. Like, Elfie's like, oh my God. Elfie wasn't going to be able to fly out, but she's like, I'm going to do all the research. So she did all the research. So I wake up one day and I'm like, okay, I had a dream. My mom came to me and she was like, you need to go shoot this. If not now, when? And she gave me a list of locations. My freaking mother.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think we can do this. And you were like, why? You're like, your mom literally gave you the answers. And I was like, I just don't think I don't know. I was like, I'm stressed. Remember? I was like, I don't think I can get it.
I remember.
And we wrote like a map. Remember? I think we went to like Roberto's. We went to Roberto's. And,
We went to Roberto's.
And we wrote like a map of like all the locations, and it was a perfect. And by the way, I didn't know where we were. I hadn't been to some of these locations, and it was like a perfect circle of where we were going. And so my mom told me in order which ones to go to. And we're not going to share everything on here because, you know, it's going to be released as a feature documentary film, Paranormal. But I called Josh, who is, like I said, Josh has worked for me the longest. I freaking love him. He's like a brother to me. Josh is head of security, so anytime we're on location and he was also there for the pilot. And if we need to like hire extra security or whatever, it's his job to do that. And he's amazing.
On here, hi Josh.
I think he was earlier. So Josh is like, yeah, I'm gonna fly out. And I'm like, oh my god, like this
literally
is
like this
in like a day.
And I remember it vividly because I was like, you know what, rip the Band-Aid. Let's just ask in group chat if he'd be willing to come out. You know, give it a couple days and then have him come out.
Well, even Elfie, I felt bad for Elfie because I was like, she's gonna have to research really quick. She's like, nope, I got it, don't worry. And I was like,
she's like, fine, it's fine. And you know, he was like, yeah, I'll be out there like 2 days or something. I remember looking over at you and you were looking at your phone like,
I was like, wait a second, this is happening and I'm scared.
It's happening. Yeah, it was, yeah.
And yeah, so we road tripped it, man, for like a week. And
went to the airport and went.
Yeah, poor Josh didn't even get a break. He got in the car and then we were gone.
Did not sleep.
We did some paranormal stuff. You mean like indigenous stuff? Yeah, well, we did that for the pilot. We did do that for the pilot. But we should do more for sure. So we went to Arizona first, and we went to a few places in Arizona. We don't want to talk about all, but let's talk about Jerome. You got to experience Jerome.
I did.
Which Jerome is where I left off with my professional career in 2011 with Travel Channel. And I felt the need to return to Jerome. It's a little bit of like the return to Jerome. And I don't know, I kind of want to hand the mic to you and just like I want people to hear what you Jerome is so important to me because of Travel Channel. And
yeah.
I've been there so many times and I haven't taken a lot of people there because I do think it takes an experienced investigator. So, like, I want you to talk about, like, how does it feel when you first go into the town? So, Jerome's a mining town, just so you know. It sits on, like, literally the side of a mountain. It has minerals, mainly copper, but they have everything gemstone. They mined everything back in the day, 1800s, 1900s. Old mining town, lots of, like, explosions that happen, so that's why it's so haunted. A lot of the miners' wives would die in childbirth. Yeah, just, like, I want to hear, like, what it felt like when you first drove in. Like, I told you it was so weird when you drive in because you can't see that all of a sudden the cliff just drops off. And then you drive in and it's literally a cliff.
Hey, it was actually really funny because when we were driving in, it was nighttime. So I feel like there's a big difference between day and night in Jerome specifically. Like, daytime, touristy, beautiful energy, like really great. And the energy of Jerome in general is amazing. Mm-hmm. But at night, it shifts. Mm-hmm. Something shifts into something else. And I wouldn't necessarily label it as darker, but it's heavy. Mm-hmm. It's heavy. And it was really funny because when we finished some things and filming and all of that, we were driving during the daytime and we were driving on those cliffs. And, like, the road, I was like, oh, my God, it just goes straight down. Because I didn't see that when we came in originally. At night, you couldn't see anything. And then you look over the ledge, and you're like, literally, I just feel like the whole town is, like, tilting. Like
it is. It literally, the houses are on stilts, some of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, incredible. And the people there are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Food is great, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Jerome, I am so happy I experienced that. I got to experience that. Thank you.
You did amazing, by the way. Like, I wasn't sure because I didn't know how. You know, I haven't. It does. Don't you? Do you agree? It takes an experienced investigator, though.
It does, and you know what? Like, I was always, you know, the newbie, and I did like informal paranormal investigating back in school, but like, I loved it. And, you know, in the beginning, I was jumpy, and I still am a little bit jumpy, and, you know, all of that, but I feel like now, being able to go to Jerome and do this from a different perspective and from doing it for a few years, it feels different.
Yeah. No, you did amazing. You're not a newbie anymore. Like, you're good. You're good.
I feel good. I feel good now. I feel like that was like my initiation without it being labeled as such.
You mean Jerome?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, I felt like Jerome for me was a challenge for me to like really solidify like being a paranormal investigator.
I remember when we're driving, I was in the back seat when we first drove into Jerome because I was filming in the back seat. I had the camera. I remember I was like, Josh was driving, you were in the front seat, and I'm filming like B-roll through the mountains and stuff like that. And I was like, I was trying to tell you guys like how to get there. I was like, okay, you're gonna freak out because when you come in, it's gonna look weird, it's gonna feel weird, you're gonna feel like, you know, but like, don't feel lost. Yeah, well, Josh thought you were lost, and we weren't. I was like, don't worry, you're fine. Like, and so we go into the drum, and I remember hearing Kat, and she was like in the front seat, like, like they just literally making that noise, like she was like so scared.
Okay. I was literally, because it's a shift. It's like a wall, energetically, and you could feel it in your heart, and Josh could feel it in his heart too.
I know.
He kept going like this in the car, and he and I were like, we gotta turn here, we gotta turn here. We're so discombobulated, like we were lost, and then the GPS kept cutting out, and we were like, yo. We kept driving around for like what felt like an hour. But
it's a two-way, but it's a one-way, and there's not a lot of places to turn around. So, and I had told you guys, I was like, no, this doesn't look like a street, but it is turn. And Josh was like, no, it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel right. I was like,
I don't think I can turn down that road. And then when we pulled up to where we were at, the location.
Well, we've posted. So, one of the locations was Jerome Grand.
I'm just like teeter. Yeah. Okay, Jerome Grand. We were like.
Yeah, Josh and Kat, you guys were like, oh, it's not, you don't expect it to look like, it's big.
No, it is huge and towering and history and like heavy. And I was like, yo, I couldn't wait to get inside. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I felt like doing it like that was perfect.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you plan it out, you have more time to think about it. You know, whereas if you do something a little bit more impromptu, you're just like, let's freaking do it. Because I have a feeling that if we planned Jerome Grand, it probably would have been in my head a little bit more.
You think?
Especially I think so. Really? I think so. Especially given the history and like your experiences there. Right. And everything else, I feel like it would have been more in my head. Whereas we just ripped the Band-Aid and I was like, yeah, let's go.
Right.
Let's go right now.
So explain the feeling between like, you know, when we filmed on the mines outside or like up in the hills of Jerome, explain that feeling versus in the town of Jerome.
It's really interesting. Before I talk about the difference, I feel like the similarity was people were watching.
Yeah. And
you felt that. For me, I felt that in the mountains, and I felt that in town, including the daytime.
Yeah. Well, no, we had the drone out. We were getting drone footage, and people just stared. They just want to watch. Yeah, you just want to watch.
Yeah, but you could also tell it was like small town, heavy, like, you know, like clearly very like, you know, haunted. They knew it, and there was like new people in town. And we always carry ourselves with an energy of just like, let's go get shit done. And then we had security with us, you know, but it's otherworldly. It's otherworldly. The mountains and doing that drone footage and looking out, you know, at everything felt to me it almost felt like a portal.
Yeah.
It felt like a portal. And it was very like you'd shift one place standing still and you'd feel one way, and then you'd shift another and you would feel a different way. And I don't know if that's because of the ore or, you know, just the area itself, like the energy the grounds held made you feel that way. But it was crazy intense. And then in town, it felt more solidified. Like I felt like I didn't want to leave. I felt like my feet were grounded in place, and I did not want to leave Jerome.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you didn't want to leave Jerome. You were like,
no, I wanted to stay longer.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay longer.
Yeah, it's,
I liked it.
Well, then even explain the difference, like, in the cemetery, because not a lot of people know where that is. I only know the back way behind the town because I know locals there. But what's the cemetery? It sits on the other side of town. People don't even know it exists because it's that weird street, remember, that we bottomed the car out on?
Yeah. We didn't bottom the car out.
No, it didn't. It didn't happen.
We didn't do that. It didn't happen.
But you sit in the cemetery and you look up at the town, and it's another eerie perspective, isn't it?
Really, like, very Hills Have Eyes
type
of energy, for real. But also very spiritual. And there were some good moments in it, but they also did not mess around with whatever resided there, entity-wise, energy-wise. Like, they respected it. There was a major respect.
Yeah, in the cemetery, they have shrines set up that are like crystals and stuff like that, I think, to keep the energy protected.
I remember Krystal very specifically was like dead serious. You were like, don't touch anything in the cemetery. Don't touch it. Leave it. Don't pick it up. And I was like, okay. And then I walk through the cemetery. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I understand now, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's miscellaneous things spread around. There's crystals, and there's like skulls, and there's bone. Like, you know, there was just like weird miscellaneous stuff, but it was there for a reason.
Yeah, animal bones.
And it was like, don't.
Yeah, it's not. I don't want people to get the wrong idea because I know the locals in Jerome. It's not like they're doing rituals. It's they're trying to keep things protected. Yeah. It's offerings and protection, and some of the older graves, they'll have crystals set up around them, and you just don't mess with it. Don't touch it. The locals live there. Let them respect the dead how they respect the dead. There's animal skulls and antlers, and that's how it's always been. And just don't disrespect the energies. Don't disrespect. That's, you know, even if it is ritualistic, you don't disrespect. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And yeah, Kat didn't realize what I meant when we went in, because there was literally like a crystal grid tripod set up with crystals, remember?
Circle,
yeah.
Like a circle with like this.
A crystal.
It was like a satellite.
Yeah. And Josh was like, what the fuck is wrong? And I was like, don't touch it. Just don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
And
we're going to go in and we're going to get out.
Yeah, we just got some really cool beers.
Standing there.
Really? Probably
While you were talking earlier, something flew off my desk. I don't know if you noticed that.
No,
I
didn't.
was like freaking out. Something flew off my desk, and I was like, something flew off my desk. And I just thought I saw someone standing.
What were you, from Jerome? From chatting about Jerome?
Yeah.
Oh God, you thought something was in the kitchen the other night too.
A freaking crawler. Okay, we're just not gonna talk about.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about that because that's hilarious.
Oh,
the whole thing's hilarious. We have to talk about it because this stuff we can't keep. We can't put this in the features. So we have to talk about it. Okay.
We have to talk about the behind the scenes.
People may not get it, or else they'll think we're stupid, but it's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
laugh the whole time and not talk, and everyone's gonna be like, "What is wrong with these people?"
Oh my God. So, first of all, let me just say that Josh and Kat there, like even security, it was just so fun. We laughed so hard and had so much fun, and it was the most easy breezy film shoot I've ever done. It all came together, and just everybody was teamwork oriented, and it was just amazing. And Josh even picked up the camera a couple times and did some camera work for us. Like, I didn't even ask him to, and he's like, and he did amazing. Like, it's just crazy to me. And Elfie did all of our freaking research. Poor girl, like last minute, and she just thank God. Oh my God, you know, like I'm just so grateful.
You texted group chat that we had like just gotten in the room, and she FaceTime. Remember you guys FaceTime?
Yeah,
I say it right now.
I texted Elfie when we first got at the hotel. We're not gonna say what room we're in, but I texted Elfie and I said I just got to the hotel. She's like, can I FaceTime you right now? And I was like, yes. She's like, I just want to see it. So I literally FaceTimed Elfie and I walked her through the whole hotel, and she was like so excited. She's like, oh my God, it's so good. And
I laid on the floor in the other room. I was just lying on the floor.
My God, it was huge. Yeah,
it was so cozy.
Yeah, I mean, one side wasn't for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we just
that is in the feature, so we can't keep that in the feature. But let's see. Let's talk about some behind the scenes stuff. I took a skateboard with me. And
yeah.
I shot some really cool, like, The Shining footage with my skateboard. And Kat forgot that I was shooting. like with a camera, like rolling. And it, like, just take in mind, like, when you're doing a, like, serious shot filming, it takes a lot of energy, okay? You have to, like, set the skateboard up. You have to get, like, we were using a camera and a gimbal, and, like, then Josh had to get behind me and pull my legs. Like, it's a major shoot, you know?
Yeah.
And we finally get the shot, and we're like, okay, ready, and action. And all of a sudden, Kat's standing there in the shot, and she's like...
I was filming you, and you're like, Cat's in the shot.
I'm like, Cat's in the shot, Cat's in the shot, and I like, Jesus.
Honestly, like, it was crazy because I feel like I was so excited to be there once we got everything down, but the energy there makes you like, oh,
yeah.
you know, it's kind of like weird.
It does.
So I had to like reground myself after that. I was like, get yourself together, boo.
Well, in my episode of Paranormal Challenge, we messed up the history. Is there a man in your room talking?
No. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to do this something because there's some in here.
Hang on. Are you sure there's no one talking in the room?
No.
Yeah, there's a man in there. I heard him. And it didn't come from my side.
I just heard tapping on the wall.
Anyway, well.
Can we not? Can we not right now? It's rude.
You never know what's going to happen in a live stream. You know what I mean? People watch us just for the paranormal activity.
I knew it was a guy. I knew it was a
It
guy.
was probably from Jerome. If I hear anything else, I'll tell you. But it sounded like he said a sentence or something. It's like, maybe we'll have to go back and watch this. It's at 2:09. 2:09. What was I saying? Okay, so we did that. We just had so much fun shooting. Oh my god, I heard it again. Heard it again. Did you guys hear that voice? To male? It's happened twice now. Anyway, if you've heard anything, it might take him a minute to respond because I think our feedback takes a second to get going.
Yeah.
That's weird. It sounds like literally there's like a dude over your shoulder like talking in the mic.
Rude.
That or else is from
Wait till after.
from Tonopah.
No. No.
Okay, so we went and ate at the Haunted Hamburger for dinner one night.
It was so cute.
It is cute. And we walked down. Oh, so, yep, Nikita said I'm hearing a man too. It's on Kat's side.
Great.
Yeah. So we went to the Haunted Hamburger, but we walked by the old building, which is the old hospital. It's like literally from the 1800s. And that's the building that I told you has crawlers, and it's like really, really bad. Mm-hmm. And they have... Oh, I just heard something else too. Sounded like someone was like singing, or like a man was like, huh? Something like that.
I'm going to take out my headphone for 1 second.
Okay. Should I just talk and just see if he responds to me? If there's somebody here, can you give us a name? That was weird, something kicked on. You from Jerome or Tonopah? Are you a minor? Are you a minor? Can we have a name?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, I just did a mini EVP session and nothing came through. No, just kidding.
Okay. It's that convenient. It's convenient. It's every time I put my headphones.
I was like, are you a minor? Are you from Tonopah, Jerome? Like, can I have a name?
Probably neither. It's probably like my grandfather or something.
Oh my god.
It's like something random. Anyway. Rude.
Yeah, someone said I'm hearing. So yeah, everyone's hearing it, so that's good. At least I'm not crazy. That's good.
Gonna cleanse after this.
Just need a sage vomit. What do you think of the old hospital in Jerome?
Oh my gosh. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with that building.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Like, I did not want to look in the windows.
I know. Lonnie's no longer there, and they've turned most of the building into apartments, which is so gross. Like that building, the top floor was the surgical center. And the amount of people that died up there is just unruly because it was from the 1800s when like explosions would go off and stuff. Like I remember being up there filming for Paranormal Challenge, and I literally remember seeing blood still stuck in the tiles. And to think that they turned the top floor and the second to the top floor into apartments, I'm like, oh my God, what were they thinking?
What are you doing?
Who would want to live there?
It was dark. It was creepy. And what was creepier is like when you walk down from Jerome Grand to where we were going to go eat, it was like pitch black out. There was no lamps or like lights outside on the walkways. So we were walking in pitch dark.
Dirt and rock.
And I'm walking by this building and I was like, yo, something wrong.
And so that's the building I swear there's crawlers in. I've seen them.
Yeah. And literally we walked by and I was like, we're just going to jog past this building. It's great. It's a good time. And then I ate a great salad. So it's a good time.
That's weird. I'm still getting noises coming from over there. Now it sounded like a female or something. They just want to be in on the conversation. You know what I'm saying? No. They want to give people...
I have a space spirit box. I should get it out.
You can if you want. Oh, I'm not doing the Estes method tonight. I am tired.
I'll do it all night.
Ooh, oh my God, that is an experiment we need to try. What happens with the Estes method if we're apart from each other? I know. My Aquarius brain is thinking this is dangerous. Like if you're there and I'm here and you put me on speakerphone, but if you're in, I'm sorry guys, this is a private conversation that's now public.
Wait.
What?
Okay, yeah. What if you went live? If anyone takes this idea, I'm gonna be real mad at you.
Ew, creepy.
You go what?
Yeah, okay, fine. I can do that, but how do I get you out of it? Because usually I have to tap your shoulder. What if you're in there for like an hour and a half or like 2 hours?
That's not gonna be good.
You'd have to set an alarm or something on your like phone.
How can I hear it?
You'd have to put it on your lap so you can feel the vibration of your phone.
Yeah, the vibration. That's true. You should go live on GGD, and then I'll go live on my personal, and we'll do it simultaneously at the same time. So people would have to watch both.
Okay.
But then we can save it and edit it together.
Okay. That's fine. I'll do it. Creeps me out, though. Anyway, sorry, guys. That was a private conversation. Glad we had it together.
This is our brainstorming.
This is what happens when we're in a meeting. Like, I have an idea. Oh, my God, I have that. So, anyway, the investigation happened. It went really, really great. And we were hungry and tired, so we all ate a bunch of food, and then we conked out. Security was not comfortable with sleeping far from us, so they slept like in the hallway, and they all like passed out. Kat and I slept in one bed, and we shared. It was like a king size bed, and this is the funny part. So, when you're coming out, like if you're most of you guys that follow me, you're a ghost hunter. Like you know what it's like after you investigate. It's like you're really hyped up and you're just like on edge, and especially when you're sleeping at the haunted location, it's just like 40 times worse. You know what I mean? Because like now you've communicated with what's there, and now you're like waiting to fall asleep and it's gonna come after you. You know what I mean?
Which, by the way, we had like 4 cups of coffee during that investigation. I don't know how we fell asleep. To be totally honest, like how did we not have a heart attack?
It was like 4 a.m. or something.
Downing coffee, like jeez. Yeah.
So we went to lay down. Well, I came in the room and like we were in pajamas and whatever, and I went to sit on the edge of the bed. Okay, because I was just like, once again, you're hyped up and you're like like I just investigated for like 6 hours. And I'm like and I'm like you're trying to unwind to just like breathe. And we've had coffee and we're like we can't and so I go to sit down on the bed. Cat's already in. I can't even say this.
My butt hurts already. It's like dull aching right now.
Oh my God.
I'm stressed.
I was laughing so hard I was crying. So like once again, you're in a paranormal location. It's just everything's scary. You know what I mean? Like you're just on the edge. You're like thinking the worst is gonna happen. Like a ghost is gonna pop up and like whoa, And so I go to sit on the bed. I'm just like, just get on your phone, get on social media, just like scroll through TikTok for like an hour, just breathe. You know what I mean? And she's already in bed with her feet under the covers. Why am I laughing so? And so she's got her feet under the covers. I didn't see where her legs were. Why did your legs look so flat? Okay, that's my concern.
Oh, I flat legs? Maybe.
So I did not see her legs or her feet, okay? And so I went to sit down. I have my hands, like this, and I'm getting ready to, like, just sit on the edge of the bed, really, like, calm and relaxed. And I ended up putting, like, all of my weight onto Kat's foot, which I did not know was there.
By the way, which is having phantom pains right now on the top of it, but it's fine.
Wait, I don't know if people are gonna laugh at this or not. They're probably thinking this is like the stupidest conversation. So all of a sudden, I lay like on her foot, and it just like it sounds like it broke in like 24 different places. Okay, I was like,
so proud.
It was like so. I can't. So the first thing that goes through my head is not that it's her foot. It's that I think there's a fucking leprechaun under the sheet and I just smashed it.
Straight up thought it was a leprechaun and I was like, that was not foot.
Well, no, wait a second. I have seen one of those at the Stanley Hotel in Spirit, okay? It scared the shit out of me, okay? So I couldn't figure out what was so small that I just like smashed in 25 pieces.
Just destroyed. Literally, you just destroyed it.
And so I turn around to Kat. I look absolutely horrified because I'm just completely convinced that there's a gremlin. There's a gremlin and I just smashed it, okay? Woo. So I turn around and I look at her just horrified that there's a freaking gremlin under the thing. And she's looking at me in pain. And she's like, ow, my foot. And I'm like, what? Like, total miscommunication. Like, Jesus. So she's in pain and I'm horrified thinking there's like a little creature under there. So anyway, that happens. And so at that point, Kat's just like, I'm done. I'm done with the night.
We were laughing so hard. I don't know how Josh slept through it because we were like,
because you were like, why do you look so horrified? I was like, I swear I thought it was a leprechaun or something. God, thought I killed a leprechaun.
Oh, it was messy. It was crazy.
Oh,
crazy.
My camera's blurry again. It must be my mom or it's the leprechaun. Just kidding.
The spirit of the leprechaun.
It's the spirit of the leprechaun.
Coming through.
So we decide to lay down and we're like, we both scrolled through TikTok for a while, but like
We were just
ended up passing out. So I'm weird, okay? When I sleep in a haunted location, I sleep with like a hoodie up. I like wrap my face 4 times with the blanket, just this far up, because you have to breathe. But I just don't, because things mess with you when you're asleep. Kat always makes fun of me because she's like, you look like a mummy. And I'm like,
no. You know what she looks like is that kid from Christmas Story where he's like all bundled up. Remember that kid? Did you ever see that kid?
Oh my god, I can't. Oh, I'm crying. So I'm like totally, but I'm like, you know what? So we left one light on just because it is Jerome after all. Okay, like Jesus. Josh said I didn't know any of that was going on. Josh just said I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah, he was out. You were out.
Yeah, you didn't know that there was a leprechaun in the bed with Kat. You know what I mean? So
that was my foot.
So we left. So Kat ends up passing out with like her phone on her face because I looked over at her and she was just like, and I fell asleep. But we left one light on in the corner just because it's Jerome, and something kept smacking me in the face. Now this is when you know you're a seasoned investigator. Rather than getting up and running from a ghost hitting you, I took my hand and I just remember in the middle of the night I could go like anytime something would slap me, I'd be like slap. So it just kept going away. I didn't even look. I didn't even open my eyes. I was like, leave me alone. Touch me. No. I'm trying to sleep. I have to drive tomorrow. So then go ahead and share what happened with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like I woke up because I was just like shifting sides of the bed, and I saw. So the bed was like here.
Can we just say one thing before this? Because you told me specifically before we even left that you said, and I quote, I want to see a crawler.
Yeah, that's true. I did.
So you manifested this.
Elfie would have been so proud. Elfie, you would have been so proud. It's like, I want to see a crawler. And I manifested it. So I woke up and I saw a crawler in front of the bed.
But the light was on.
In front of like the chest of drawers.
Mm-hmm.
The light was on, and he was. I say he because it was looked like a guy with tan skin, and he was on all fours,
naked,
with no face.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there on his back legs and one arm, and he had one arm up. So he was just kind of like, it almost looked like he was getting ready to like go. And I looked at him and I was like, no. And I went to bed. And I literally went to bed.
But you opened your eyes and you said it was gone.
Yeah. And then I said no. I laid
I
down
said
to go to sleep.
No.
And then I looked back and it was gone. And I was like, that was uneventful.
That's when you know that's when you know you've been to too many paranormal places. You see a crawler, you're like, nope, I'm going back to bed.
I was so proud, but it was also really eerie. It was like creepy that it was bald. Like it was just all skin.
No face.
On all fours.
Naked.
And his rib cage was like out. No face on. He had 4, legs. But he was only on 3, and he had one arm up, getting ready to, like, go.
You said it was, like, human centipede-ish looking.
It was very, very human centipede looking, yeah.
See, and I've never seen them in light, so it's interesting you say they look like they have skin, because I've only seen them... Ugh.
Like, literally my skin tone
Ugh.
is literally what he looked like. And what was eerie was how detailed his rib cage was, because it almost looked like he had a concave chest.
Ugh.
To me, it almost looked like his rib cage went really deep in, like deeper than humans, and it was just like wrapped around freaking alien style.
So were you able to get a reading off of it? Just because Elfie and I both have different views on crawlers, which is fine. I don't care if we have the same views, but I just didn't know did you read its intention? I think they're like messengers for like other things. So like I think they come in to like spy and then they report back to something else is my feeling of them.
I felt like he was watching. I felt like there was no intention to do anything. I felt like he was just like, who are these people? And I felt like the energy was like, these people have balls.
Oh my god, Nikita just said we're going to make Krystal slapping the air into a gif. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, please.
Please do that. Oh my god. So how do you know it was male then, just energetically? Like you didn't see like a dingling hanging out or anything, right?
No, I didn't see a dingling.
I didn't.
Woo!
Yeah, why haven't we been signed yet? I just need someone to help me understand it.
Yeah, no, but its shoulder structure looked very masculine, and his head looked very masculine. The way his ears were... I just got an energy read of just male.
So that's it. I just want to know because I've never gotten a gender reading on it at all. So I didn't.
It was a guy.
It was
a dude.
Interesting.
Yeah, like straight up, and it was eerie because the face. The best way I could describe the face is like Slender Man.
Ugh.
You know how he has like
just like but you like yeah
yeah. I had a Slender Man face, but like with my skin tone.
Ugh.
And he was straight up just naked, and I was like, oh, no.
No, I don't see no dingling with your
I've had
naked.
too much coffee. I've seen no human centipede dingling. I'm going to bed. And then he's gone.
As I'm just like slapping the air. I'm like, get out of here. Oh, God.
Got leprechauns on my feet.
Oh, God, your poor foot. Guys, seriously, it's not funny. I thought I broke her foot. Honest to God. I was like, what?
I mean, it is funny.
That's why I looked so horrified, because I was like, oh, that leprechaun's dead, bro.
Yeah, it is. I think it just has phantom pains, okay? No bruising occurred.
I can't breathe. Poor Josh is in the other room. He's not far from us, but I'm like, we're going to wake him up. We're like screaming. We were laughing. Literally. Oh my God. It was so bad.
How would that be possible? Sitting in Jerome, literally just rolling. Just super awesome. These entities in the plays are probably like.
Well, we were both worried about you.
We
were worried about each other. I was worried about your foot, but you were like, why do you look so horrified? Because I was like, because it was a leprechaun. Like I just think I was all night. I kept saying I'm convinced it was a leprechaun. I was freaked out by it.
I was like, Krystal, it's my foot. It was my foot. I pulled it out.
Oh my God.
I was like, ow.
So sick. I got issues, man. Oh my God. So yeah, and then there was another thing that happened we can talk about because we didn't get it on camera. I think I just heard another voice.
They're probably like centipede dingling.
Yeah, I know. They're probably like, who are these girls? My God, I think if we had a show, it would be hilarious. That's all I have to say, okay?
We're gonna haunt somebody else. These people are weird. Like, literally.
So the next day, Josh and I are like loading the car.
Yeah, so I had a phone call. I had to take a phone call, which was a whole other conversation in itself that I can't talk about. But that was an experience. I went up to the 3rd floor to take a phone call, and it was a thing.
Oh yeah, you should talk about that too. You should talk about both of those. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was like, yeah, don't share your phone call with your mom. And then I was like, oh, never mind, the dude. We
did catch that on camera. We did talk about it on camera, so I don't know if you want me to or not.
We did?
Yeah.
We caught the dude on camera?
I went up to the front desk.
Oh, never mind, we can't share that. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
It's fine.
Just kidding. But 3rd floor is haunted as just wanted to say that.
4th floor.
Anyway.
4th floor.
4th floor, excuse me. It was the morning. I took a phone call. I'd come down from the 4th floor. Krystal and Josh was on. They were just loading the car with the gear and luggage and all of that to get checked out. I was on, I had my luggage on the bed, our bed, and all of a sudden it's morning. I hear, hello. And it was loud. It sounded like a speaker, like one of those really old school speakers that you see on the wall, like the brown intercoms. And it sounded like it came from the dining room. And I literally thought like an announcement was getting ready to be like, come out. And there's nothing there.
So Kat calls me, she's free, because she's alone in the room. She's like, oh my God, is there an evacuation? Do we need to evacuate? And I'm like, well, where do you want to go? It's like, where do you want to go?
Well, because I was like, I just heard something. It literally sounded like a woman. She was like, hello. And I was like, Siri? Where are you at? But no, really, like there was a speaker. It sounded like there was an amplification or like intercom.
Old school, like old school hospital, like speaker system.
Yeah. Back in the day, type of, even like the vocal tone was just different from how it is now.
Right.
Very interesting.
And we asked them if they had a speaker system, and they're like, no, not at all.
They said they had never heard that before either. So that was a new one for them.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Really,
that was creepy.
Yeah, broad daylight, which would make sense if it was residual. Mm-hmm. You know.
So it's almost like a nurse like saying hello. Yeah, poor Josh. He did great though, man. Like that was a serious location for Josh, but my God.
On no sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd flown for like 12 hours and then he was dang.
But died.
And then died. He was like, the crawler went up to Josh. He's like, I don't care, honestly. It's gone.
I was like, we're going to go to Kat and her leprechaun foot. That's what we're going to do, okay?
I'm crying. Oh my God, the foot. What else happened? What else happened in Jerome? We went to Cottonwood quite a few times. That's a cute town. It's a lot bigger than it used to be if you've ever been to Jerome and Cottonwood. Cottonwood used to be really small. I haven't been there in years, and it's huge now. There's like a Walmart and all kinds. There used to be only a handful of places to eat because it's just a very small town, but it's like a full functioning city. I went into the grocery store on the way out. I had to get some allergy medication, and I was in like full ghost girl gear, like black docks, like my lace. And, Kat and Josh stayed in the car. I ran in to get allergy pills, and I went in, and this guy walks up to me. He's like, you're not here. You're not from around here, are you? And I was like, do you think? He's like, I've never seen anybody wear Doc Martens before. And I was like, he's like, where are you from? And I was like, Vegas. He was like, makes sense. I was like, okay.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's so weird.
Because I'm wearing Doc Martens, I'm from Vegas? Like, I don't understand, but it's fine.
Now, can we talk about the footage in the valley?
Which valley? You mean Tonopah or? There. Wait, which?
Like on that like strip of road.
Strip of road. In Jerome?
No, Death Valley.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Oh yeah, okay. We'll get there. We did go to Sedona. You love Sedona.
Oh man, I'm gonna live there.
If you're spiritual in any sort of capacity, you need to either go and or live in Sedona because it will change your life.
Yeah, it was an emotional experience.
Yeah, Kat wants to live in Sedona. I will eventually probably buy some sort of little like condo or something. It's only 3 hours for me anyways. But yeah, you want to talk about
the tea.
Yeah.
There's so much tea. I loved it. Yeah, everyone there is just so like zen. And the energy there is very just like nice, weighted,
grounded,
really even. everybody's really kind. No one's really in a rush. Everyone's just very methodical and they just are. They're present.
It's very spiritual.
When you get like when you get a group of people like that, especially in such a beautiful area, it's just otherworldly. It's beautiful.
I took you to the shopping area, which is one of my faves. I mean, I love shopping anyway, it's fine. But they have Native American stores, like any kind. They have pagan stores, witchcraft stores, spiritual stores, paranormal stores. Like literally anything you can think of on the spiritual side is there, and they welcome all of it. And I loved the Native American stores. They were amazing. Different tribes, different indigenous tribes. I can connect with. I just love, and it's just. The shopping's amazing too for being such a. It's a small town, but it's not. I feel like.
It's a big small town. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But the rock is beautiful. There's waterfalls. There's hiking. There's the healing vortexes. You can hike there. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh my god! Thank God I didn't drive that on the way out because it's like on a fucking cliff.
It reminds me of Colorado. Yeah, like I
know. That's what you were saying. I was like.
I drove out of Sedona. I mean, I think Josh probably could have handled it because he's done a lot of road trips. But I drove out because people are you're nervous when you're like, I'm from Colorado. So I'm from Colorado, bro. It is. There's a ledge, and a lot of people were driving very, very slow, and I can just whiz right through there because I grew up in the mountains, so it's fine. So yeah, we went home, and then that was it. That was good. Arizona was good, and then we decided to do another film shoot. And this time we were stupid and didn't take security with us.
We did,
and that will be the first and only time that we don't take security with us because it was not safe.
And security was not happy that they were not with us. It's fine. We learned our lesson. Sorry.
Yeah. We're like, we can go to. It's gonna be fine. Like it's not. We got this. So we drove through. We drove up to Tonopah, and that is very haunted. It's got like the Mizpah Hotel, the Clown Motel. You drive through Goldfield. I know if you're a super advocate of paranormal, you know what Goldfield means, and a few other locations. But, we drove up to Tonopah. It's about a 3.5 hour drive. And it was nighttime when we drove through, so we weren't able to be in Goldfield till the following next few days. But we got to Tonopah. It just does these small towns, like compare. I'm gonna let you do this. Compare Chloride to Tonopah to Goldfield to Jerome. Jerome was welcoming.
Tonopah was a little bit
sketch.
More like, it was sketch, but it was also had more to offer than Chloride. Chloride was definitely the bottom of the totem pole there.
Yeah.
And
the bottom
Goldfield,
of the totem pole.
Goldfield was like, I feel like it was just kind of like slapped on the map, and it's just like, oh, Goldfield.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it. Like Tonopah was definitely a little bit more touristy without it being touristy. I mean, they like had 2 restaurants or something, but and a gas station, but there was more there than Chloride. And Jerome definitely had the most. But Goldfield, it was like you would drive to Goldfield and you were like, oh, you're in Goldfield, and now you're not in Goldfield anymore.
There's no gas stations in Goldfield. Like that's how small it is.
There's some weird going on. Some weird going on in Goldfield.
Yeah, there's something's not right. Yeah, Tonopah is sketch only in a way of I don't think the city puts a lot of money into it when they should, especially when they have.
Shame.
I know. I mean, well, for having 2 major haunted locations like that, that's a major tourist attraction, which is the Clown Hotel and the Mizpah. So it's a lot. Like we got to know some of the locals while we were there in Tonopah, and it's a lot of just generational people that have grown up there their whole lives, and like they know that it's been on TV and all this stuff, and then like they pick you out. They actually are very welcoming if you're into paranormal.
They are.
They kind of called us out. Everybody kind of just knew why we were there without even talking to us.
It's true. I'm besties with the owner now. Clown Motel.
I wish you could see my face right now, okay?
What? With it?
Nothing.
With that?
I'm just going to say that the owner of the Clown Motel may have a thing for Kat, and we are welcome back anytime. That's all I'm going to say.
Anytime. Anytime, sweetie.
And it, by the way, wasn't looking at me when he said it, so I'm just saying. Also, he took a lot of pictures of cats, so that's fine. So you can hang them on the wall. You know what I mean? There's a mural of you there.
Great. Yeah, great. Wonderful. Do a cord cutting ritual in the next hour. It's gonna be fine.
Oh my god. There's one, you know, it's fine, you know. No, I think they were excited that we were there. They were
very kind.
Yeah, they looked up Ghost Girl Diaries and he's like, "Oh my god, you should have warned me before you came." And I was like, "Well, I don't know, we were just chilling." You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's fun to not. I don't necessarily always call and do it the professional way. You don't really have to if you're renting a room to just investigate. You know what I mean? But it was great. Like, so we've been welcomed back anytime. Really great experience. No bad experiences with the Clown Motel itself. Like, it was great. No. Like, great. Everyone was welcoming. I'll tell you guys it's a great place to go for a paranormal investigator. Definitely a good place for like an amateur rookie, like level, because they're very welcoming and they like to talk about the paranormal. Not every location will be that way. Some locations are very private. They don't want to talk about it. Some of them are ashamed about it and they're not there. They welcome it. They want you to shoot there. They want you to have video footage. They want you to do something with their location. So yeah, that's a good one. And Mizpah, I think if I'm comparing the two, we did go to Mizpah. I think Mizpah is way more haunted than the Clown Motel is. We got a lot of insider information that we can't share because it's going to be part of the feature of the Clown Hotel. But I don't think anything bad or like negative necessarily resides there. A lot of people like me to clear that up. Is like, if it was on Ghost Adventures, is it demonic? No, it's not. I don't think there's anything demonic at the Clown Motel, honestly, at all.
No.
I didn't sense that at all.
No, we slept great, actually. That was the best place. That was the best haunted location I've ever slept at.
Yeah, that's why I think that for a rookie or an amateur, it's a perfect place to go. Because a lot of people don't have a lot of money to stay somewhere else or whatever. And it's the perfect place to go because it's not scary to sleep there after you've done an investigation. So, and we stayed in the most haunted room and it was the exorcist room and it didn't phase us at all.
Bestie.
Yeah.
I was with my bestie on the wall.
Now, I am going to talk a little bit about the feature. I think I just heard a whistle on your side. It sounded like a female whistle on your side. I know. You'll have to sage. It's fine. The Tonopah Cemetery was way more haunted than the actual Clown Hotel. Do you agree?
Yes, that is all you though.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Elfie not only did our historical work for all the locations, but she also did our post-production time stamping of Paranormal Activity. And I love you, Elfie. Thank you, by the way, because you saved my life with that. Yeah.
Love you, Elfie.
Now, remember, Elfie has done some shit, okay? Like, she was on, a show. It was, like, kind of a big deal called, it's, like, my second favorite paranormal show called Paranormal State. And so she's seen some shit. Elfie's seen some stuff. She's been to a lot of locations. And, I mean, I'm so jealous that she investigated Mothman. I'm never going to drop that until I finally go, okay? But, I'm never going to let that go.
Let's go tomorrow.
God.
Band-Aid.
But she was like, she did the footage of the graveyard that's outside of the Clown Motel, and she was like, that was some of the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, literally. So she was like, this is not right. Like, something's not right here. And
also scary during it.
Yeah.
It.
And I'm going to give a sneak peek by talking about this. But I'm not releasing. I did release a little clip on TikTok. If you haven't seen it, you need to go to our TikTok, which is Ghost Girl Diaries. I released like a 3-minute clip of us in the graveyard. So I've been on a lot of investigations. I've been in the public eye since 2011, but even before then, I was into paranormal for my whole life. And growing up outside of the Stanley Hotel, I can't tell you, I've been there hundreds of times, literally, at the Stanley Hotel. Like, I can't even keep count, because it was literally in my backyard, So,
I want to go there.
Oh, we should. But you know what? That one is, probably equivalent to Jerome, but it depends. You know, the worst part about Stanley Hotel is you don't know what it's going to be like the day you hit it. And what I mean is that some days it can be a friendly haunt, and other days it can be a really dark, icky place to be. And I think it's because that it sits on quartz, so they claim like, you know, energy shift in and out when it's built on quartz. And it's just like when there's bad energy there, it's bad. I told you I saw like a 4-foot troll thing manifest in the concert hall of the Stanley Hotel. And then in the presidential suite is where they have Native American spirits that I've seen, which I'm indigenous, so I'm not shocked by that. But that's where I saw that little leprechaun thing with Billy from Ghost Adventures. Protect your leprechaun foot next time.
You know what? Here's the what is the twist? The twist. It was actually my foot. It was actually there.
Jesus.
Time traveling.
Your foot was at the Stanley Hotel 20 years ago? Okay.
Just my left foot crawled.
I literally can't.
And then you had a flashback in Jerome, and you were like, "Yo, that was Kat's foot with Billy." Okay?
I wish you guys, if you could have seen my face when I sat on her foot, I looked like I had just saw a demon. I looked horrified. I was like,
it sounded horrible. It sounded.
Okay. Whew, I'm sorry.
Time.
It's just something
always
we
go
can't.
back to the leprechaun.
That's gonna be one of those one-liners. Like if you missed that stream, you missed so much. You know what I mean? Like,
I've got to crochet you a foot.
Oh
like a
God!
Hat on it, like with a leprechaun's hat on it.
Oh my God! Even then, every time I'd ask her, "How does your foot feel?" I would just burst into tears and laughter because it was like, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean." Oh, okay.
Give her major side eye. Just like.
Oh my God. Whoa. You know what's funny though is that the number one comment that I've been getting from people, I'll get back to the story in a second. The number one comment I've been getting from people is that they love our jokes and how we laugh on the stream. And it made me laugh because I'm like, I thought we were like annoying people, but apparently they
This is literally how we are on the phone. It's like sometimes we'll be on the phone for like 2 hours and we're just we're not even saying anything. We're just laughing.
Oh God. It's the leprechaun foot. You should make a lucky leprechaun foot keychain and knit that shit and sell it. That's what you should do.
Oh God, like a rabbit foot.
I would buy it. Leprechaun foot. It's just so messed up.
I'm copywriting that.
Oh my God, that's messed up. Whew, all from that one night, Jerome.
Someone just draw this and make it like limited edition stickers of like
Littlefoot.
Leprechaun foot. Littlefoot. Oh my God, that's already taken though.
Is it?
Yeah, Littlefoot, Bigfoot.
Oh,
the
is
dinosaur movie.
Oh, yeah. That made me sad. That's a sad
Before
topic.
Time?
Yeah,
Before
that's
Time.
God. That's depressing, man. I can't go there. Okay. I hate that movie. I used to cry so bad as a kid when I'd watch that. It's childhood trauma.
I would cry with Fox and the Hound.
Oh, that Saint Bambi.
When I saw my eyebrows.
Do you want to kill me? Do you want to break my heart? Horrible, traumatic. Anyway.
Well, you want your foot broken. The next person. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
But
Okay, so back to Tonopah Cemetery. So we decide Krystal's got the great idea that we're gonna just get the worst over with first, and we're headed to the cemetery first.
honestly, it was smart. I'm kind of glad.
Was it? Because I feel like it wasn't.
Well, we needed to rip that Band-Aid, so...
God, and it was only like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't even that late, and it was just bad.
But energy-wise, it felt that late. Okay, it felt that late. I'm telling you, it was otherworldly.
So, the cemetery sits on the side of the Clown Motel. The Clown Motel sits at kind of like a corner lot, and then it's on this side of the Clown Motel. And, it looks old, because it is old, and you walk down, like, just a few steps, and then you walk down a few more steps, and you're in the cemetery, and, we hadn't walked through it during the day, it was only at night, and we get down there, and whatever's in there makes us feel like we literally can't go in, like, there's, like, a energetic wall that, like, if we step foot 2 or 3 more feet, it will get us, whatever that is. I don't even know what that means, and...
It was in front of us and in back of us, and it was before the entrance.
And it was like, it would not, whatever it was like, don't even think about it. Like, and it was like, even if I tried to go, I could feel it was like, don't, it was like a warning.
Yeah.
It was like a warning. And, I don't even know what it was, because like at first when we went down there, it didn't feel like bad, but it was eerily quiet because it's a small town vibes, whatever. But I don't want to talk about the sheriff, but I do want to talk about. Let's just back up for a minute. And
how far are we backing up?
We're backing up to Death Valley.
Oh, yay. Okay, so we can't talk about that.
Yeah, because I mean, that wasn't really in the, we didn't really film that. I mean, I got some like B-roll footage of that, but it's not really going to be in the pilot. So, or it's not a pilot, it's a feature film. I keep calling it a pilot. I'm sorry. I've never filmed a, yeah. So we're driving into this old like haunted ghost town just to like get some really cool B-roll footage. And I told Kat, oh my God, the sunset looks like amazing on this road. I need to stop on this road. And this road is basically a part of Death Valley. It's a huge area of Death Valley. And it's weird because we just left. Oh my God, something just hit my chair really hard. Really fucking hard. I heard it. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
All right, who the fuck's in here? Because don't do that while I'm streaming. That pisses me off. That pisses me off.
No, come here.
That pissed me off. Don't kick my chair. Disrespectful, and I will sage your ass out in 20 minutes. Anyway, that was hard. That was like, it like kicked the underside of my chair.
I heard it.
Alright, well, weird. I hope we're not dealing with what we think we're dealing with here as we're about to talk about it.
Some fuckery.
So, we're in Death Valley. I pull over, I get the drone out, which is a process. You have to put it all together with the pieces and the propellers and stuff, and you have to like start it up. You have to get it connected to GPS. It's just a lot. So, as I'm doing that, now in Death Valley, we just passed this really small town that's in the middle of nowhere, but like now we're in an area where there's nothing. There's not even cars coming through. It's that Death Valley is what you think it is. It's desolate. There's nothing there. So, as I'm, a huge strip of road, two-way highway, and that's it. And like dirt and rock and mountains, and that's it. And so I'm messing with the drone, and I'm trying to like focus because like we're trying to rush for daylight. And Kat's like, Krystal. I'm like, what? She's like, Krystal. And I'm like, what? And she's like, something's over there. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, something's over there. I was like, Kat, nothing's over there. We're in the middle of nowhere. Nothing's here. She's like, something's over there. And I'm looking, and now I can hear like rock, like footsteps in rock, right?
It was that, and there was like a weird sound. I can't even pinpoint what the sound was. It was just monster-like. It was monster-like. And it was once. It happened once. And then I was trying to get your attention, and it happened again, and then that's when we heard like rock fall.
And I was annoyed with Kat, because I'm just like, I think she's freaking out. I think she's overthinking it. And then all of a sudden, I start to hear it. And now, once again, we're in the middle of freaking nowhere. Like, literally, like, not even close to anything. And Kat's like, I'm like, okay. And now I'm hearing it. And you're right. I could tell it wasn't human. I don't know what that means. It wasn't an animal. We're not dealing with, like, a mountain lion. And all of a sudden, so like I finally launched the drone because I'm trying to focus because like and if I don't know if any of you are drone pilots, but like it is a serious thing when you're doing drone footage because you don't want to wreck the drone. Like you have to be in pilot mode and focus, and you have to get the footage, and you only have a certain amount of time for that battery to die, and it's just drone footage is really hard to execute, and you're flying something that's like a $5,000 piece of equipment. If you wreck it, that's literally somebody's car. You know what I mean? Like it's a $5,000 vehicle, literally. So, so I finally launched the drone, and I'm trying to focus. Cause I can hear it. I know something's over there, and I'm just like, okay, I can do this. Just focus. Cause you can't land it wrong either. It'll wreck it. And all of a sudden, Kat's like, I just know it's a skinwalker. And I was like, are you serious? And she's like, I just know it's a skinwalker. And she's like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but she's like, it knows you're indigenous, and that's why it's here.
And it was communicating. I think there was more than one. Because where we were at, the long strip of road, you have these these dunes, like these. It almost looked like dunes, but it was mountains. And I think it was communicating to something across the way. It was like a major sense of urgency to like hurry up and go because something was about to go down.
So I did the drone footage shittily, but I did it. I landed the drone.
Fine.
It did look okay, but I landed the drone, got it. I didn't even pack the drone correctly. I threw it in your lap and you put it away.
But here was the eerie thing too, is that the weather started to get real strange.
Yeah, it was trying to take the drone down. Yeah.
Remember how windy it started to get and you couldn't land it?
Uh-huh.
And we were getting concerned because we wanted to get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Like it was almost like it was trying to trap us.
I couldn't. So drones are very lightweight, but yet heavy. I know that sounds strange, but like when it's in the air, if you're trying to land a drone with wind, and I did not. First of all, you don't launch a drone in wind. Period. Because it will fly away and it will wreck and you'll be screwed. So that's weird. You have like a weird shadow in your picture.
Is it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys see that? There's still a shadow like in the bottom corner.
Well, I have a light behind this. I have a light behind this backdrop.
No, there's still a shadow there.
Over there. I wonder if something's standing over there.
It would, yeah. Okay, people are saying they're hearing things and they don't know which side it's coming from. It's probably this stupid skinwalker.
I'm not going to manifest that.
That's weird. Anyway, yeah, it's like really...
Yeah, it just got like really dark over here.
Yeah, do you see it? It's lightening up a little bit now, but it's still dark. Ducking. Slap it away.
Maybe he wants a leprechaun foot.
Do you want a leprechaun foot?
Do you want a leprechaun foot? But these entities are like these bitches. Really?
Oh my god. So
it's weird.
So we get in the car, I throw the drone on Kat's lap. Kat's like trying to put it away, and Kat's like, I'm just telling you, I know it's following us. She's like, we're driving in the Charger. She's like, I just know it's following us. And we got up to this other ghost town that we were filming at. We had to film more like B-roll footage and stuff like that. And Kat, the whole time, she's just like, I know it's here. It's following us. I just know it's following us. Skinwalker?
Yeah.
So, or Minnie? You thought Minnie.
I think it was two. I think they were communicating.
So we wait till it's about dawn and it's like getting darker, and we decide to leave, and now we're headed back on the main highway because we kind of like went off to another area, and now we're headed towards Tonopah.
Okay, so this is where we were going back to Tonopah.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt the floor shake behind me.
Yeah, I thought I heard like another voice right before you said that.
Like it was like a stomp.
Huh. It must be transferring back and forth between us while we're live.
You know what? I got my Zen guard.
I'm telling you, that kick on my chair scared the crap out of me. Like, I do not like that stuff.
It was loud.
That was aggressive.
I heard that. Did anyone else hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I heard it. It almost sounded like a slap.
It felt like somebody, like, you know when you were in high school and somebody'd kick your chair out, like if you're sitting in your chair? That's what it felt like. It literally felt like a foot was under my chair and kicked me. And I was like, so we go to Tonopah, we go to the graveyard, and we're having all these weird experiences that I'm not going to share. But there's a point, which is what creeped Elfie out when she watched the footage. We believe that, and I called it out on film, that the Skinwalker is there in the graveyard with us. And
that's when it got real weird.
And when I called it out is when really weird, bad stuff started to happen. And it sounded like it was like morphing into different animals, almost like you could hear like a crow and a bird, and then it sounded like maybe like a deer and an antelope. We heard dogs barking, which it hadn't happened at all at that point in the night. So it was like morphing back. You're zoning out. Are you getting a reading?
I'm sorry. I don't know why I just zoned out while you were saying that. That was really weird.
I know. Okay. By the way, Kat's abilities have increased since you last saw her. And she's actually been channeling shit. And so yeah, it's been really cool to use her in investigations. But anyway, we think we had an encounter with a skinwalker, and that was Elfie. Apparently in the film I said, okay, well, we like took a break and left the graveyard, and then I said, okay, let's go back in, and Elfie was like, how about we don't? How about you don't go back in? Because even Elfie's like, I could just sense that surge of urgency of just like, you should not go back in there. It's not safe. That is the first time in my career of paranormal that I didn't feel safe. We didn't go back into the graveyard because I knew if we did, something really bad was going to happen. There were other things that were happening in the distance, and I don't want to talk about it, but I assume it to be paranormal, but if it was not paranormal, it was going to be a life-threatening situation, and I decided to dip out, and we didn't go back to the graveyard.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're glitchy.
Whoa. That's weird.
Did you hear something?
No, that was just my whole thing just like froze.
I know, it was glitching. So, to end that story of Tonopah, we had gained the attention of a lot of locals, and people were wanting to take pictures with us, which they did. And, which was cute, because I have really bad imposter syndrome. It's really bad. I don't think I'm important. I know that sounds terrible. In my head, until I've accomplished getting the series signed, I'm not good enough. And until I've accomplished getting the series signed, even though I have millions of views on YouTube, it's not good enough. So in my head, I'm really bad about thinking that I am somebody. So when people see me and want pictures with me, it's weird. Because I just don't think I'm important. I know that sounds, I don't know why. So people wanted to take pictures with us, and the last person that wanted to take a photo with us was a creep. And dude, that was when we should have had security with us. So I'm going to let you tell that story.
Well. So I was in our room at the time. Krystal had taken out the drone to do some last minute B-roll footage and drone footage of the whole location and all of that. And she was outside by herself, and I was conversing with somebody that was chatting about some things going on within the vicinity, and we made friends with somebody and all that. All of a sudden, I get a voice memo. I had a voice memo from
Was it a voice memo? I thought I texted you.
A voice memo.
Was
and
it?
You were like,
urgency?
You were like, yeah, because you were trying. Yeah, you were just like, I need you to grab the charger. Can you come out here with the? I need the charger right now. So I was thinking, oh crap, the drone's like mid-air, and she needs something. You know what I mean? I was trying to find this charger, and I couldn't find it, so it took me longer to get out there. I was like,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I literally have no idea what she's talking about. I have nothing to give to her.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm gonna get fired if I don't find this charger.
Sure, because like we had only brought one thing back into the room to charge.
Oh,
and I ran outside and I was like, what are you talking about? I was like yelling, I was like, what charger? You were like, come here. And I was like, what? And you're like, come here. I was like, okay. So I went over, and there's this creepo freaking dude standing with Krystal, pretty much harassing her.
Oh,
and
God.
she's sitting with her drone, and she's clearly like turning her back to him, like not engaging in conversation, like not even wanting to go there. And I walk over, mind you, she and I are in these like black dresses.
Well, we looked like gothic like dolls because we were doing B-roll footage. I had a dress on, a short dress. He was trying to take pictures up my skirt, which he would have been very disappointed because I always have shorts on. Anybody that wants to take a picture under my skirt and my dress, you're going to be very disappointed. I got shorts on, boo.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Well, I go over, and, I could immediately tell what was happening, and, like, my Aries just, like, went on, because I was like, yo, don't fuck with me. Like, okay, we don't have security, I'm your security right now, okay, we're gonna have some issues, I don't care if I'm in a dress. And he looks over at me, and he goes, why are you dressed like a Mormon slut? And I was like, excuse me? Like he said it, and I was just kind of like taken aback by it. He goes, "Yeah, why are you ladies dressed like Mormon sluts?"
Well, he knew who Ghost Girl Diaries was because he had his phone open to the YouTube channel, but he was like,
right. He wanted to know like what we were doing and like what why, and he wouldn't stop saying it.
He was standing next to me. He was trying to take pictures with me, and I kept like, I'm not the kind of person to say no when people ask me for a picture. Like, I'm not rude. Like, unless I'm having like a bad day. Like, it's gonna happen. You know, like everybody's a person. You're gonna have bad days. I don't usually say no, but this guy was he kept trying to like put his arm around me on my shoulder, and I was like, no, thank you, no, thank you. Plus, I'm in the middle of trying to shoot footage. I'm in cinematographer mode. No, I don't want to I don't want you to be handsy with me anyway. Like, just leave me alone. I kept walking away from him, turning my back to him. That's when he tried to take pictures up my skirt.
And then I was walking behind you, and we went to the cemetery. You know what I mean? To just get away and like have a conversation. And we literally just left him on red. So he was left standing there like an idiot, because he is an idiot. And, you know, went off to go and do his thing. But like, anytime we were in the vicinity or had to go back to the room for something,
here he comes.
He was like peering around a corner and like would come and follow us, and I was like, well, not every day you're called a Mormon slut.
Yeah, we're Mormon sluts now, apparently.
Mormon sluts now.
And then he's like, or are you like going to a funeral? And Kat was like,
I literally looked at him, I was like, why would we wear this to a funeral? like
we walked away, and Kat was like, I'm not going to a funeral, but I'm a pagan witch, and I'll bury you in a fucking jar outside the desert, though. I was like, oh.
Literally, I was so triggered.
Oh my god.
Jeez. And then that's when we texted Josh. You know.
Josh was like, I knew I shouldn't have left. I just knew it. And I was like, yeah, never again. Not doing it again. Oops. I learned that lesson. And
no more ripping the Band-Aid filming without Josh. Okay.
It's okay. We survived. It's fine. But
we did. We got through it. But
it's like I forget though that people like are gonna recognize us. I know that sounds stupid, but like I just forget it sometimes. And
it was my first time experiencing that. That was my first time experiencing.
How did that feel?
It was weird. He was like, especially like when we were inside, we were standing next to, I think I posted a picture about it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We were standing next to that haunted clown.
Mm-hmm.
Remember on Ghost Adventures where like the hand moved?
Mm-hmm.
Like Zach, the hand moved. Yeah, we were standing with that clown. And the owner was like, can I take a picture of you guys?
Well, mainly you.
I was like, what?
He wanted a picture of your leprechaun foot.
I should have posed. Like done a yoga pose with just like my left foot.
I'm sorry.
No, actually, no, I'm glad not, because that's sick. People are sick. They probably do something with it.
Oh my god.
Don't be sick at the Clown Motel.
Leprechaun foot fetish. Oh my god.
That's fine. This podcast and this is great. This is a great return, you guys. We've missed you.
I mean,
so
you know,
much.
the first part was sad. The second part is it's ending on a high note. I feel like that's where it needs to be. You know.
Paranormal activity, and we're laughing.
What happens when you see a demon? Oh, it's a leprechaun foot. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Leprechaun foot, guys. Don't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So you got noticed. How did it is weird when it first happens, isn't it? Because you're just kind of like.
Yeah, I was like, why? Like I was sitting there.
Why?
Yeah, I was like, what? You know, we're just because to me, in my head, I feel like I'm so ingrained now when it comes to the producer side of things. I'm like, I'm working.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why? No.
I think it's funner. I think there's a difference because it's like when actual fans come up to you. To me, that's fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But it was like the weird.
But when it's like the secretive like crush and then they can't like just be normal and that gets creepy. Then you're kind of like, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? Can you just be chill and be like, hey, what's up? Do you want a picture? And be like, you know, yeah, you're right. You got a few. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. That leprechaun thing, it's never going to die. It's just going to go on forever.
Y'all are now going to be dealing with this with us, okay?
The series is going to get signed, and we're going to be at, like, Waverly Hills, and we're going to hear, like, something move, and I'm going to be like, was it a leprechaun foot? And only people that listen to this stream are going to know.
You know what we need to do is, like, you know how in Destination Fear they have, like, that Dakota's duck thing?
Yeah. I have a leprechaun foot.
A leprechaun foot who can find the foot?
Oh my
Who
god.
can find the crochet
It's
foot?
so sick, bro. It's like...
It's chilling with the human centipede dingaling.
Oh my god. Whoa!
Wow, it was fun.
Yeah, that was our road trip. It was fun.
It was great.
It was fun. Mizpah's cool. We're gonna go back there and hopefully film too. We want to go back to Mizpah. Mizpah's really beautiful. It's you know, I mean, the Clown Motel, it looks like a motel. Like it's interesting though, because they have literally thousands of clowns that are. I asked him, I said, where do you get the clowns from? And he said they get them from just fans all over the world, have been sending them in for years, but since they've been on the Travel Channel so many times, people send clowns, and there's clown art. Anything you can think of clown related, it's in there. There's clown posters, there's clown, people have drawn pictures, there's chalk art of clowns, there is knitting, clowns that are knitted. I mean, it's literally, there was what was that board in the 80s and 90s that we played, like a Light Bright? There was a Light Bright clown that was in there too. Like literally anything you can think of.
That back room is messed up.
Yeah.
That back room with all of those trinkets in there, there's something in there.
Yeah. Apparently there is a clown spirit there. We did ask the housekeeper about this because we didn't experience the clown spirit. But she said she's seen it, and she thinks he's harmless. She doesn't know who he is, and so that would have been interesting if we would have captured that. But we ended up communicating with a lot of spirits from the graveyard, and yeah, it was peaceful. You hearing some?
No, I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's not that out of left field, but clowns, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
There's a new documentary coming out about him on Netflix on the 20th.
Really? I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna have to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We were talking about clowns, and I was like, this is messed up.
Yeah, that's...
John Wayne Gacy.
What do you do when you want to relax? Watch a serial killer documentary. It's fine. Okay, let's see. We're rounding down to the last few kind of topics here. So we want to chat a little bit about TikTok. We are...
so excited.
Yeah, we're kicking ass on TikTok. We're at almost 10K. Yep. And next week we should be live on TikTok, hopefully. Elfie, her next few topics are going to be really interesting. We're going to start talking about occultists. We're going to probably, I think next week's Alice Crawley again, because we only touched base on him a little bit. So we're going to talk about Aleister Crowley. And then she has some other occultists that we have on the list that people haven't really heard of from like the 1800s. I just think it's really important to talk about like weird paranormal occult stuff from back in the day, because it helps us understand where we got in modern times with like paranormal and being into, you know, spiritualism and the other side. And we're also, this podcast should be called The Tales of the Leprechaun Foot.
Oh my god, can we?
Oh my god, Kat, I think you should start that series on your TikTok.
Leprechaun.
Oh my god. You should start some like weird series on TikTok where you take like a crocheted leprechaun foot to like haunted places and just leave it there.
Oh my god. I can't talk about it on this stream because it's really messed up, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Your foot? Your leprechaun?
Yeah. No, I'll call you after this and we'll chat about it.
I'm scared.
Remember I said I was gonna like crochet little things and then put them
Oh
in
yeah. Yeah. Because you're fucking weird.
But not that. Okay, but not that.
But do the foot?
Yeah.
There you go.
But do like a foot or
go to Salem. You're so close to Salem. Just drop it off in Salem.
I haven't been in so long. I should do like a ghost, like my crochet ghost, but with like a leprechaun hat.
Oh my god, that would be cute. I'm just saying, you should start a series on it. There's your gig. We're
300 followers away from 10,000.
Not even. I think I did the math and it was like 240 or something earlier.
Something? Oh yeah.
I did.
Exactly, yeah.
Now I'm gonna do the math because I'm OCD.
97.69.
Okay, wait. 9.
Follow up.
Wait a second.
I rounded up a little bit.
Okay, what's the number?
97.69.
We're 231 people away. If you're not following us on TikTok, be one of those 230 people. I was going to film today for TikTok, but just I was prepping for the stream because I haven't done it in so long. It took me a while.
I know.
And yeah, we're revamping social media and YouTube. A lot of people are asking me what's going on with YouTube. We were going to stream to the new YouTube channel, but we don't have enough subscribers there yet. I think I'm just going to start uploading to both channels and see which one starts growing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start filming shorter videos, like 10 minutes, and upload them to the YouTube channel. I'm going to do random stuff. I want to talk about like dark directors. I want to talk about haunted locations. A lot of people are asking me about reviewing paranormal shows again. I have a couple opinions on that, and you're probably not going to like it. One is, if Kat came to Vegas, it's getting dark again on that side of the camera. It's creepy. I don't like that. Ugh. If Kat comes to Vegas, which I'm sure she'll be back, we will probably do booze and reviews. That will be fun because we drink wine and it's fun to do live.
Dude, is it happening over here now?
No.
Do you see that?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it. I see it in that bottom corner though. That it's really dark over there. Like you can it's like it's blending in with your shirt. But I just don't have an interest in reviewing paranormal shows anymore. Is that bad? Like, I'm just being honest with you guys. You guys don't want me to do content where I'm not happy. You know what I mean? And it's...
Well, and you don't want to do content. You know what I mean? Like, it's because you're the one doing it.
Well,
you know?
It's just boring. Like, I've done everything I can as far as reviewing paranormal shows. You guys know what I'm going to say at this point. My camera's blurry again because of my mom, or Skinwalker. And I just don't know. I don't know. The leprechaun foot. I don't know. I find it boring. Like, I don't want to review Ghost Adventures anymore. I'm bored. You know what I mean? Like, I
feel like we're going into Ghost Girl Diaries 2.0.
Yeah.
You guys. And I feel that with all of the change that we've been discussing and everything that we've been through, especially Krystal, things change.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's not meant to stay the same forever, you know? And we're kind of just embracing that change, and it's still going to be incredible content and incredible stuff, and your support means so much. But it's just time.
Yeah.
To switch it up a little bit.
Well, and I think I mean, Kat has definitely had a spiritual evolution, but so have I. And like, I'm at a point where, like, Elfie, Kat, and I were in a conversation the other day, and I was like, what's the point of Ghost Girl Diaries? I'm not here to prove that ghosts exist anymore. Like, too many shows have already done that. Paranormal exists. If you don't believe it, if you believe it doesn't exist, that's because you haven't had a personal experience. I cannot give you a personal experience to believe or not to believe. That is up to you to figure that out. If you don't believe in paranormal, it's probably because you're scared of it and you don't want to open yourself up to it. That's not my problem. Not to sound mean, but like, I've already proven myself as an investigator. I've proven myself as a filmmaker. We're about to release another feature film. It will be released by the end of this month. It will be done to more film festivals, and I assume it's going to get picked up by even more film festivals this time. Because it's amazing. This is amazing. It's nothing you've ever seen before. And my point behind Ghost Girl Diaries isn't, I don't want to be the investigator that keeps asking the same questions. Who are you? What's your name? Did you die? Are you a demon? I feel like that's the only question everybody asks nowadays. Are you a demon? I don't care about that stuff anymore. And here's why. My mom has now crossed over to the other side. She is home. My questions now are, what is it like? What do we do? Why do we incarnate? Like, I have serious philosophical questions that I want answered now. We've already established the other side exists. Now what's the next step? And for me, it's going backwards if I'm just reviewing ghost adventures. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We're not here to convince people that the paranormal exists.
No.
Because we already know. People know. You either are or you're not. There's really no middle ground.
Yep.
You know, it's more than that.
It is. Well, and now that my mom is there and I'm so close with her and I'm so connected with her, like, I have so much to share with you guys about the other side. Like, do not fear death. Honest to God. Like, of course we don't want to, quote, die, but do not fear death. it's just going home. We're literally just going home. We're not from here. I'm telling you, I know from my mom. I'm literally living through her. She lets me see things now that she's there. Like, this is a temporary vessel. I'm literally sitting here in a meat suit, human suit, on a floating rock out in the middle of nowhere, because we're here to spiritually evolve the planet together. And for me, it's through the eyes of paranormal and the other side. And my guides have come through. Like, I have even with Kat's been there. Kat's been the one channeling my guides, helping me. Elfie's witnessed it. Like, we have so much more. Like, Ghost Girl Diaries 2.0 is going to be so much better than just filming Ghost Adventures reviews. It's so much better.
It is. It's time.
It's
time.
evolution.
It was part of the path.
Mm-hmm.
Got it to where it's at now. We're moving on.
Yep. And I don't wish, anybody ill. Like, a lot of people think that, like, Zach and I have beef because I reviewed his shows. There's no beef. I think that there was some turmoil that happened when I reviewed his, I poorly reviewed his museum the last time I was there because I had a really bad experience. And so it wasn't just me, it was my producer friends. And I don't want to review anything anymore. I don't want to review anything related to Zach. I have a lot of people that used to walk up to me and think that Ghost Girl Diaries was paid for by Zach or associated with Ghost Adventures. And I don't want to do that anymore. I didn't mean to do that. I honestly didn't mean to do that. When my intention of the YouTube channel, when I started reviewing Ghost Adventures and other paranormal shows, was to literally teach people about film and paranormal. What's real, what isn't, matching things up with historical references, and really teaching people about how to merge paranormal film with film, and showing you what to look for, what's good, what isn't. It was really just a film critic thing. I didn't mean to merge with Ghost Adventures that much, and I'm really trying to break that. And I think it's been enough time where Kat and I and Elfie have established the podcast. And now, once this feature is released that we've all been working so hard on, you're going to freak out. I'm not going to even doubt that this gets picked up for distribution. Do you think, Kat? I mean, you want to explain what distribution is? You want to explain that?
100%. I think that this is going to go places. I think you're going to be seeing this feature places. In
theaters, possibly.
To watch it. Yeah. It's unlike anything you guys have ever seen anywhere, especially with GGD, but outside of GGD as well. And I think I will be so bold as to say that it's going to change the face of paranormal. It
is. And we're not going to release that because you keep your mouth buttoned because we don't want other people to, bag on us. But until things are done or in stone, you don't share it. You know what I mean? Because you can mess up the laws of manifestation. But I will say that, when Kat and I went on this road trip, and I see there's questions coming in. So if you guys have questions, I'll answer them when I'm done with this. Kat and I went on this road trip expecting it to just be a normal paranormal investigation, and we're filming it, and it was anything but that. We used the Estes method, which is why we were talking about it earlier, but we've taken it to a whole nother level that I didn't know it could even be taken to. And we filmed it, and it's going to blow your mind. Like, the investigation that we got, even Elfie was like, I've never seen anything like this. I've literally never seen anything like this. Like, we literally have invented a new way of investigating. And that's why I think this is going to take off so well, because everybody keeps leaving comments on social media and saying, I'm bored with Ghost Adventures. It's the best show, but I'm bored with it. It's because there needs to be something new and fresh. And we accidentally came up with something that we weren't even prepared to come up with. And, which is the universe.
It's some of the best things in life are unexpected.
Yep.
All the best things in life are unexpected.
So Diana said, what would you say to someone who had a dream about someone who died and then they died months later? What do you do? That's a premonition, and whoever had that dream is probably gifted as a psychic or a medium. And if it's something that you do not want to re-experience, you need to start grounding yourself with meditation, and you need to start having some really in-depth conversations with your guides and call them in and tell them what you allow in and what you do not allow in. If you don't want those abilities, you need to tell your guides, I want to shut those abilities off completely. But I don't think it's something you should... I've heard this before. People have had dreams about people dying and they blame themselves, like they brought it on them or something. That's not even... No. One thing that I've learned, and this is once again with me sharing my experiences with my mom now that she's crossed over, is the only person that controls your soul's journey is yourself. No one else controls that soul's journey. My mother had the option to stay in her body and be a vegetable and live in a nursing home for the rest of her life, and she chose to exit her body and go home. So in other words, we are in control of what we do. We are completely in control of what we do. Don't think that you caused this by having the dream. So you just, whoever this is, just needs to set firm boundaries of what they want to allow to come in and not allow. Is that how would you word it, Kat?
100%. 100%.
Someone said, I have precognitive dreams, and yeah, it's the same thing. Like it can happen, but be careful too. Like, if someone actually died, then yeah, you're having some sort of an ability. But I can't express to you guys, after my mom has passed, how important dreams are. I'm going to beg everyone watching this stream to start tonight or tomorrow journaling your dreams. Because your dreams are not dreams, they are messages from your guides and your ancestors and your family and whoever's crossover. I can't tell you how many nights Christian was with me when my mom was dying. Christian is my ex, but we were best friends for years. He's definitely a soulmate. If you follow me on social media, you know I've talked about Christian a lot. And he was with me almost nightly in dreams. And I'm telling you, the dreams were so vivid, which is why it's so important. When you get these dreams, they are trying to communicate with you. You need to remember your dreams. Write them down. It's not just a dream. Have you ever had one of those dreams where you like remember a place and you wake up and you're like, well, I've never experienced a place like that on earth. That's because it's home. You're having a dream from home. Have you ever had a nightmare about being murdered or killed or something? You just accessed an Akashic record. You need to write it down. And you need to talk to your guides and ground yourself and meditate more so that you're on a higher vibration with them so that you can communicate with them and they will help you understand what it was that you experienced in your dream. Don't be afraid of it. But if you are afraid of it, it's okay. Then tell your guides, I don't want to access this anymore. It is too much for my 3D human brain.
For real. And little witchy tip, if you struggle with remembering your dreams, you can get dried mugwort bundle and hang it above your bed. That will help you. Those properties will help you to remember your dreams. Or you can take dried mugwort and put it in a little pouch and put it underneath your pillow. And set your intentions with it, of course, but it helps immensely with remembering your dreams and sometimes having lucid dreams, depending on what you allow to happen.
So Diane is saying she's having some vivid dreams. She needs help and she needs guidance. She's having dreams of literally like things outplaying in historical presences. Yeah, you have abilities. You have abilities. And there's a few reasons the dream journals are good. It's one, to remember it for yourself. Because I'm telling you, if you think you're going to remember it later, you're going to only remember pieces. That's why you need to write it down. A week later, you're only going to remember pieces. Number two, that's another way for you to communicate with your guides. You can tell your guides, I am communicating with you through my journal. I give you permission to read my journal as I'm writing it. And you can even write to your guides in your journal, but you have to express that approval. I give my guides approval to read my journal. And you have to ground. If you're really tapping into these things, you've got to start meditating daily. And it's hard, but it's a habit that you have to start. And meditation grounds your mind. From what I've experienced with my mother, we are not physical on the other side. So the bodies that we have right here, right now, do not exist there. We are a vision, okay? When we come here, It's heavy. We are literally carrying a meat suit around. And all that's left that we remember is our conscience. So when you start to meditate and ground yourself, it grounds your conscience back to where it's used to being at home, not here. So if you're getting these abilities, you've got to reground your consciousnness to be able to connect with the other side. But I can't tell you how important dreams are and to write them down. One thing too, just for like a critical point that I'd like to make, not only for if you're into spiritualism or if you're experiencing trauma, I have felt very alone. And I say that not because I'm alone, because obviously Kat is like my sister, literally. But without my mom, I feel isolated. She was the last family member I had. I literally have no family now. She was it. I'm solo by myself. And my guides are like, you're not alone. We have been with you the whole time. Stop saying you're alone, because you're not alone. So if you have these abilities, or anybody for that matter, you have really important messages that are trying to come through, and you're not focused on yourself to get grounded and meditating to be able to get these messages clear. So you've got to start working on yourself and your own energy. And there's so many things. There's internal energy, which is your conscience, which is, like I said, meditating, listening to binaural beats. I can never say that word. What else? Meditation, that's good. Yoga's good. It knocks your like consciousness out because it makes you like focus on one thing. And then you also need to make sure you're paying attention to what you're feeding your body. If you're a spiritual being, having those connections to the divine and your guides, if you're just feeding your body like processed sugar and stuff, it's going to mess up all of your like consciousness. So you've got to really start like tapping into that, which is honestly a whole nother stream, but I'm not going to cover that now. But you're not alone. And like if these visions are scaring you, then you've got to talk to your guides. If they're not scaring you, then yeah, you can set boundaries for sure. But if they're not scaring you, then you need to say to your guides, I'm getting the information from you, but I need to understand what you want me to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do with this information? And they will tell you. Have you heard of Lilydale Spiritual Community? Have you heard of Lilydale Spiritual Community? I have not heard that. Is that a spiritualist on TikTok? There's a couple spiritualists that I follow, but I'm careful with who I follow. Like, I love Dolores Cannon. If you've ever done any research on Dolores Cannon, I have a couple of her books behind me. She's amazing. She did past life regressions and she wrote books about it. And like our souls literally talk about what we're like home. Like this is one of the hardest planets to incarnate on. And whoever comes here is really strong to be able to do it because it's a very low vibrational planet, meaning there's darkness, there's hell, there's war, there's crime, there's death, there's murder. And like when you incarnate here, anything can happen, which is kind of my mom's story. She incarnated here not planning to be murdered. Murders they're not usually planned. Now Christian was murdered, but he tells me that he did have a plan to die early. So I don't know what that means. Now with my mom, she did not plan to be murdered. But you incarnate on this planet, like she's told me and my guides have told me she was not supposed to die yet. My mom was not supposed to die. Her soul contract was not supposed to end yet. However, when we incarnate here, we know that we're incarnating to a low vibrational planet and that can happen. And the way my guides explained it is you could literally step off your front porch and get hit by a car or get in a car wreck and die. And you'll have to go home. It's just we can't control those outcomes, and that's part of our soul contract is coming here, is knowing that sometimes we have exit points. My mom had an exit point. She could have chose to stay, but she would have been in a vegetative state, so she chose to leave. I also learned from her that when you're in the process of dying, so she was kind of dying for about 11 days, she was not in her body most of the time. She would come visit me, and she would say, my body's decaying, it's dying, I'm not there. I don't want to sit for 24 hours a day in a dying, decay body, so I have left my vessel. So, I mean, I have so many more, I don't even want to call them beliefs at this point, because it's like knowledge. I don't want to sound cocky. I'm not trying to sound cocky. It's just that my mom died, and I'm so connected with her, that like she's telling me literally what it's like to die, to be on the other side. Death is not the end, it's literally going home. We are here temporarily. Write down dreams. Yep, I'm just going over questions. Diana, if you need any more advice or anything, you can always DM Kat or myself on Instagram.
We are here for you.
Yeah, meditation's really big. Why does it feel like my dreams are different? Oh, why does it feel like my dreams are different lives that you've been living? You're accessing Akashic records. That's awesome. That's Akashic. If it's... Yeah, Kat and I both had that experience. Kat has had some way, like, old-time 1800s, right? Like, you're a girl in the 1800s and you have, like, big floofy dresses. Kat also thinks she was alive when Lizzie Borden died.
Yep. I think I was a child.
Mm-hmm. You walked into the Lizzie Borden house and you, like, remembered it, like, perfectly. So yeah, if you're having dreams like that, it's probably Akashic records, so you need to write that down. It's really important. I've had some really crazy dreams. But it's not just a dream. There's a difference, because I've had nightmares. You know the difference between when you're really, really stressed, like my PTSD, and I get up in the middle of the night looking for my mom, versus when you're having a memory. There is a difference. And when you're accessing Akashic records, those are literally your memories. They're literally your memories. Let's see. Why does it feel like... Okay, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That was a good stream.
Wow. This is a good stream.
It was. How am I? I know that's been the biggest question in Instagram, and I haven't really been responding to people. There's a lot of people asking me where I've been. I haven't been responding to text messages from friends, and I haven't been responding to DMs. I'm tired. I'm just tired. I'm having mental health, too, and I've been open about that. I have really good days and I have really bad days. I just came out of like a 2-week spurt where I was like in a really bad place, and now I've been really okay again. But the problem is when you've experienced something like a family member being killed, it's a very strange. It changes the wiring of your brain, and I am going to be okay. But I'm isolated, and I've isolated myself on purpose because I am only allowing those who understand to access my energy. I've put up really strict boundaries. So Kat, Josh, Blake, Elfie, only people that really deserve to be in my energetic field right now, because if anybody comes in and disrupts it, like, it's going to be worse. Like, an example is today I had another friend text me, and I decided to text him back to be nice, and he was, like, in a really down, depressive place. And I know it sounds mean, but I just couldn't go there. Because I'll go there. You know what I mean? So I'm just being very careful with who I'm communicating with, and it's just, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. Of course I'm sad. It's only been a couple of months since she died. I am traumatized. I am absolutely traumatized. She was my best friend. She was my mother. We had a very unique relationship. She was my biggest fan, and I am devastated. She will not be here to see the next phase of my life, which is marriage, children, maybe getting the series signed, releasing a documentary, a feature. I just won 5 film festivals. I'm just getting started. Like, I haven't even gotten my life done yet, and she's missing all of that, and I'm disgusted. I'm just disgusted. So, and you'll see it on social media. I've been very open on social media. I've gotten really positive feedback. People are like, I appreciate seeing you as a public figure, not pretending like everything's fine 24/7, and it's not. I'm going to have good days and I'm going to have bad days. And I'm going to have days I've disappeared from social media are the days I get the most messages. I don't have space for it those days. There's some days I'm not going to post, and I'm going to disappear for a few days, and it's just mental health. PTSD is serious. Dealing with the trauma of a murder and someone being killed is so traumatic. It is so traumatic, and I don't want to say I'm happy I experienced it, because I'm definitely not. But I will say that it gives me even more empathy and compassion for these haunted locations that we go to. Because I feel like at this point, it's so disrespectful to walk into a place as an investigator and say, "Were you murdered?" Like, now that I've experienced that, Unless, and like literally, I'm going to therapy, and my therapist said less than 2% of the population has experienced someone in their inner circle being murdered. So people aren't going to understand that. We watch murder mystery documentaries all the time, and they throw around the name or the word murder constantly and so easily. But until it happens to you, it is so triggering how it's so easy for people to just throw that word around. And especially for investigators, to me, like, if you're a murder victim, or even if you had a family member be murdered, to just walk in so freely and just be like, were you murdered? Is so dark to me. So I just feel like it's going to be another reason why, and what Ghost Girl Diaries' mission is to go in with empathy and compassion to these beings and not be an asshole. I just feel like that just hasn't been done, because it's been all men in the field. And now that I've experienced some trauma that these entities have experienced, yeah, you know, it needs to be handled a different way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week is Elfie. We're going to do occult chats with Elfie. This was a heavy podcast, but funny in the middle with the leprechaun foot. I'm really I'm really glad that we got to get this out. We needed to, you know.
We really did.
You still have a shadow on that side. It's getting darker, and it's just creeping me out.
I'm gonna have to take care of some stuff after this.
Oh, I'm gonna sage after it kicked my chair. Like, I'm not even messing around like that.
Yeah.
No,
No
sorry.
kidding.
Especially when we were talking about, and my mom, like, okay, let's get that straight too. Do you think my mother is the one that kicked my chair? Yeah, I don't think so. She's not gonna kick my chair to scare me. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so yeah, next week Elfie it was the leprechaun foot that kicked me. That is kind of a gross joke, though, isn't it? Like,
it is, you know. But I'm gonna crochet it anyway.
I'm telling you, you need to turn it into a series where you like leave a leprechaun foot in like Salem or like Concord and tell people to go find it, and then be like, yeah, be like, here, I left it here. Look where it's at. Thank you guys so much. No more heavy talks. We needed to get this out of the way, though. But, you know, as sad as it is, what we experienced with Lily and Diva and my uncle and my mom, the happy side is this documentary that we're going to release is going to be amazing. And Elfie, shout out to you. Thank you for helping me. Josh, we love you so much. Thank you for going, and we will never leave without you again. Ever.
Never.
And, you know, the last thing I have to say is we're signing off as Mormon sluts. And
yep.
Other than that,
amen. Amen.
And I'll pray for you.
I will pray for you as a Mormon slut.
Oh my God.
You know, that's just going to be my slogan from now on.
Oh God. Live your authentic life, you know? There's one lesson I can give you from my mom. It's just live your authentic life. Like, don't cover up who you are. Don't be ashamed of who you are. You need to, like, whatever dream or passion it is, especially now that my mom's gone, I feel like I'm going to be going after this paranormal dream even harder than I ever have. Like, I literally I have side jobs all the time. I have quit all of my production jobs, everything. I am only doing Ghost Girl Diaries right now, and I'm not making much money off of it. But I know that that's the only thing I want to do. So that's the only thing I'm worried about right now. So just follow your dreams. And life is really short. Like, my mom was 72, but it doesn't matter. Life is really freaking short. And it's just not enough time. So, like, start now. Like, just follow your dreams and start now. And that's all from the Mormon Sluts. Watch for cats. Leprechaun foot. Come on, just crochet the foot.
My leprechaun. I'll do it. I will do it in Salem. All right, so keep an eye out, y'all. I'll write a pattern.
Oh my God, we're glad to be back. Elfie, we love you. Thank you, Elfie, for everything.
Love you, Elfie.
And as always, we will catch you guys
Back from the dead.